15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Got an update for potential playoff team. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Good morning on this Wednesday. We've got an amazing, great debate for you later on in the show. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Perloff. Tua Tagovailoa gets placed on IR yesterday. It's the smart thing to do. It's the logical thing to do. It's the safest thing to do. The idea that he could be back after, suffering that concussion on Thursday Night Football would be crazy. However, we can talk about Tua's health and the impact of that moving forward. The question is for Miami. Let's take this from the football side. Is this a salvageable season? And if so, do you want to go out and try to acquire a quarterback that, no disrespect to Skylar Thompson and Snoop Huntley, who they signed earlier this week, could give you a bit of a better chance, a little bit more of an upside to try to keep the season alive?
Yes, it is a salvageable season, and it better be because you're all in for this season. You know how many old, expensive players they have? If this is not a salvageable season, what is next year? It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So you have to, as a franchise, go for it this year because there's no next year. What's next year? Jalen Ramsey's 30, about to turn 30. Tyreek Hill is 31 and starting to show it in a big way. I think that they have to go all in. Otherwise, they're going to be wandering the desert. Like, if it doesn't get better next year, why not go all in this year like the Rams?
And it's funny because I wonder if they look at a division rival last year and say, let's not do what they did. When Aaron Rodgers went down 4 plays into the season, I think if the Jets could redo that year, you're going out and getting a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. You want to know why? Your defense is actually good. You ended up winning 7 games. Maybe you are making the playoffs if you have a better quarterback. So look and see what just happened. It's early enough in the season where you actually can bring someone in. Bringing quarterbacks in at the trade deadline always seems crazy to me because, outside of how Baker Mayfield learned the playbook on a cross-country flight, that doesn't
that
normally
story will
happen.
last forever.
And just to be honest, the Raiders played their part in that game because they lost that one and their season was in free fall. So you have to have the right opponent for that story to become an all-time story. But this is early enough in the year where you could actually take a big swing. Mm-hmm. You could actually bring someone in and they get 2 weeks to kind of get their feet under them. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, you have to. Unless you really, really believe in Skylar Thompson. That is the one caveat. Maybe they see the next, he's been compared to Brock Purdy. If you have the next Brock Purdy, maybe that's your only out. Otherwise, you're going in with 2, I think, kind of practice squad level players. Obviously, Snoop Huntley was on the practice squad. And I think Skylar Thompson, if he cut loose from the Dolphins, I'm not sure he immediately gets a contract. He might be a practice squad player.
Right.
So what are you doing? You have so much talent on offense. And I know your line is a bit of a mess right now because Teron Armstead keeps coming in and out of the game. Remember, they got blown away by Buffalo. But you have Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle. You have Devon Achane. You better maximize your opportunity here, so get an older guy in. I'm not even saying you need a superstar. Just get somebody old who's won before in this league and just try.
Okay, well, I don't think Tom Brady's coming out of the booth. I'm not sure who you're referring to there. I thought Ryan Tannehill is the no-brainer because it's just going to cost you money. He's not playing right now. It's not like you have to start banging down the door for the Steelers to see if you can get Russell Wilson, who would now be in an advantageous position. By the way, Russell Wilson would have to approve that, which he might if he can't get on the field. But he's also hurt right now. Mm-hmm. He's got that calf strain that he's just been trying to recover from. If you don't have to do any draft capital, that's what I like. You'd even have to trade for Joe Flacco at this point. He's on the Colts team. He's the Colts backup. I like Ryan Tannehill. I think this is a no-brainer.
So Tannehill last year, when he did play, 4 touchdowns, 7 picks. I don't think they want Ryan Tannehill. To me, doesn't really feel a perfect fit for this offense either. He's sort of the kind of a slow, plodding Arthur Smith kind of offense. I don't think he is the guy to start spreading it to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. It just doesn't feel like that kind of quarterback. And apparently, reportedly, they're not in on him at all. They have no interest whatsoever. I feel like if you got to shoot a little higher than Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, who is your suggestion?
I would honestly, my first suggestion is you at least You call the Rams and say any outside interest in moving Stafford? Probably not.
Right.
I think they laugh at you. Then you go to Jimmy G or Carson Wentz. So those are your two most realistic options. You have to pry them off their current teams. Or Russell Wilson, if maybe Pittsburgh is ready to commit to Justin Fields. That might be 1 or 2 more weeks. Those are my highest end choices.
Okay, but here's the thing about Wilson. Again, you trade for him and he's got a calf issue. You're sunk. You're right back to Skylar Thompson and Snoop Huntley. I can't trade for a guy who's hurt.
Well, you probably won't have to give up much because he's only worth $1 million. There's no money commitment. Well, why not? You're trading for a guy who's hurt, but is he really hurt? I feel like he can come back anytime.
I don't know. I think that if he wasn't hurt, I think he wants to be playing for the Steelers. He can't practice. That's the whole problem. Mike Tomlin was saying he can't get through a week of practice, which means he can't play. Now, maybe the Dolphins would be a little bit more lenient on what they want, but he's got to learn a new playbook now too. So
well,
he's
yeah,
got to
but
practice.
if he's on the sideline for a week or two to heal this calf, he could learn the new playbook. That is a problem. No, listen, that's not ideal. But it's Russell Wilson. He's cost $2 million or something. He's at the veteran minimum, and for all intents and purposes, can't you see him throwing that big lollipop pass and Tyreek Hill running underneath it? It's a much better option to me. And also, as I mentioned, they put Russell Wilson. He's 5'11".
Yeah.
Tua is 5'11". The line is used to blocking for a small guy. I don't know if that means anything, but I just feel like they got to aim higher. They got to get an old guy, at least take a shot. Because to me, it feels like they're not taking a shot right now. They're willing to let the season play out. They still have faith in Tua, which I think is a mistake.
Totally.
He could be back by week 8. So they're just sort of letting this fizzle out. And then where are they next year? Even if Tua is healthy next year, they're getting really old really fast.
So we're talking about Tua and maybe some options. He gets put on IR yesterday. That's the news. That's the latest of what's going on. You mentioned Carson Wentz, who obviously has a long history with this show. Not because he's ever been a guest on it, but because we raised quite a bit of money for charity to destroy a Carson Wentz poster. This was back when we were in the afternoon. That it was a Sports Illustrated cover that had Carson Wentz on it.
Yeah.
And it was just ruining the vibe and the mojo so big in the studio. Like, it was like killing our chemistry, basically. And so we had to destroy it. We couldn't just merely remove it. And we raised a lot of money for the Boys and Girls Club in every single city where Carson Wentz played football. And I'm actually still on the Fargo, North Dakota mailing list of the Boys and Girls Club. They are big fans of the Maggie and Perloff show.
We're legends in that particular clubhouse.
I got a handwritten letter from the people in Fargo. Now, I love the people in Indianapolis. It was more of a form letter. That's fine. It was nice just to be thanked. And we're not even doing it for the thank you. We were doing it just for like the karmic sort of balance. If we're going to destroy somebody's poster, we should probably do something nice to sort of balance it out.
But it was not just Carson Wentz. It was Carson Wentz in an Eagles uniform. And I know that particular shade of green causes a lot of emotional reactions.
It does around
Unless
here.
you're from Philly.
Especially from you.
Yeah, I mean, some positive emotional reactions. But I generally thought when that was in the studio, a lot of people kind of wanted to vomit.
Yeah, again, the vibes were off, and so we did what we could.
The vibes are off for you guys. The vibes were fine for me. That was 2017 Carson Wentz. That guy could ball.
This was a poster, a Sports Illustrated, like blown up poster, if you guys have ever seen those in people's offices or man caves or what have you, that was so off-putting. Perloff's parents told him it has to get out of our home. In Philadelphia. It was like, you got to take this out of our house. Imagine how much crap parents keep.
I've been in that house. I've seen the crap in that house. And they still said get out of it. I've taken crap out of their house.
Those were gifts.
Yes. There was crap to them. It was like collectible comic books to me. I loved it.
One man's trash, another man's treasure, and it couldn't be more true. But that was something your parents deemed as trash. Like my mom's got like artwork for mine from like kindergarten. I'm 40. Like you know, imagine what your parents keep. And they were like, we can't with the Carson Wentz poster. Get it out.
I'm looking online at what it said, the bullseye, and it said, the QB is out of Fargo and into the Philly fire. And Carson Wentz, I can't believe, by the way, nobody has explained to me why this guy started off like gangbusters and now apparently in most people's mind can't play. That was one of those weird, I feel
got
like.
hurt.
Yeah, but it was basically because he turned on country music in the weight room and nobody liked him in the Philly. Like, it really seems like nobody likes his personality, right? Isn't that the main narrative? If you look back on Carson Wentz's career, is he wasn't a locker room guy.
Yeah, I mean, the Indianapolis Colts like could not get him out of town fast enough.
Yeah. Well, that's what, more importantly, like Philly just got rid of him and put in Jalen Hurts because they did not like his leadership skills.
Well, and they won a Super Bowl with someone else. So I think they probably realized Nick Foles, if he can do this, do we really need to keep riding with Carson Wentz if we don't love him anyway? If he is going to be a locker room person, like maybe we just move on, cut bait.
I don't know. I'm not sure that's exactly right. Well, I'm not sure if it's the Super Bowl because he led them in the playoffs. The next year, he was still pretty good, and then he just got worse and worse. But I don't get it. He could play he could throw a long pass to Tyreek Hill.
Okay, but
so get a guy like that in there.
So
who cares about the locker room?
So 2 questions. One, why would Kansas City give up their backup?
That's a problem
because they certainly have major aspirations, like a three-peat. They won't stop talking about it. If something, God forbid, ever happened to Mahomes, you need him.
My theory on this, they desperately need running back help. So
yeah, because Isaiah Pacheco is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, I think that is an optimistic viewpoint. So, but the way he runs, he needs to be fully healthy. So they have Carson Steele, who's really more of a fullback, halfback hybrid. Kareem Hunt is in there now, and he could be a bit washed. So they maybe send a young running back over. They have a couple in Miami. Besides
Achane?
Yeah, they have the kid Jalen Wright, I believe, out of Tennessee, who's not doing anything. All the fantasy owners are watching closely because Mostert is coming back, so they'll do a Mostert Achane. Just, I don't know. Is it that hard to pry away Carson Wentz from the Chiefs? I mean,
suddenly it might be because it's all about supply and demand. And now we're talking about the Miami Dolphins. That's where this conversation started with Tua going on IR. They have to upgrade that quarterback spot.
Well, I really want Joe Flacco, but there's no way. The Colts are probably going to have to play Joe Flacco because Anthony Richardson looks shaky.
No, Joe Flacco is the secret weapon in Indianapolis.
This is, beggars can't be choosers. So give me Jimmy G. Why can't you tell me the Rams need Jimmy G right now? They don't need Jimmy G.
I mean, I don't know. Matthew Stafford got sacked, 6 times last week? They might need him. Matthew Stafford definitely misses time. Jimmy G misses time. I get what you're doing. I'm not trying to just be negative Nancy on all these things. It's just, it's underscoring just how difficult this is going to be, yet necessary.
Well, the Rams could go to Stetson Bennett, I think.
How's that going?
I'm not sure what that dude's doing. Well, the Rams could be toast in 2 weeks. I mean, they could be 0-4, and this isn't even a discussion. So
could the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Dolphins should at least be called. They won their first game.
They won the first game.
So, which they probably shouldn't have won against Jacksonville. At least you got to make calls. I mean, what's the point? Well, I mean, how many wasted seasons does this franchise have? That's the other question. When are they going to turn around, Maggie? I mean, the perfect season was now a long, long time ago, over 40 years ago. So let's do something here. Otherwise, they're just going to float around, maybe get to the wild card. They haven't won a playoff game since 2000.
What about your guy, Nick Foles? He just retired. You come out of retirement. Most of the good players do.
No. They made such a big deal out of his retirement.
Come back.
I mean,
we made a big deal about Tom Brady's retirement too, and it lasted 25 days.
I was actually wondering that. They had this big ceremony where he was signing to retire as an Eagle. I'm like, he looks like he could still play. I don't understand it. But the NFL has moved past Nick Foles. I'm not sure why. I don't totally get it. I never understood why RG3 was retired at 33.
I wonder if RG3 gave them a call. The other, he's not at ESPN anymore, so he's got a little time on his hands. I mean, our guy Case Keenum.
No, I don't think Keenum's basically an assistant coach in Houston. I don't think they would ruin their mojo. No, I'm not sure they would go Keenum. Dalton would have been an interesting option for them, but he is now starting in Carolina. By the way, Nick Foles, 35. I don't totally get it.
Why? That he's not playing?
Yeah, why'd you retire at 35?
Well, the thing about Nick Foles is the secret is that he actually can't play anywhere except for Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, but he won some big games in Chicago. Remember they started out 4-1 with him. I think he beat Brady that night.
In Indy, he didn't look good there.
No, I know, but listen, he's a backup. I'm not saying he has to start somewhere. Yeah,
also,
Joe Flacco, everyone thought he was washed, and then he came out last year and was throwing for 350 yards a game.
That is true.
He won Comeback Player of the Year, controversially. One other thing, we're trying to find a new quarterback for the Miami Dolphins after Tua gets placed on IR. And let's be honest, IR is 4 weeks. And what we saw from Tua, this seems like it could be more than a 4-week situation. I mean, we're talking about 20, 30 years down the line. What's his quality of life going to be? But let's talk about, okay, he comes back from IR. You're going to immediately put him back out there against, for him to be a sitting duck and maybe get hurt again. Sarah's asking this in the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. Wasn't that Carson Wentz poster nearly impossible to destroy.
Yeah, those are tough. Those are former Sports Illustrated cardboard photos. It was made of very tough material.
It was one of the most humbling and maybe embarrassing moments on our show. And that's saying something because we willfully embarrass ourselves around here. We lean into that. We could not break this thing. Eventually we did. We took a baseball bat to it.
You at one point were on a table.
I was up on the desk.
Yeah. It was a little bit like that scene in Office Space where they destroy the printer. Or it also reminded me of Goodfellas when Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci are stomping that guy.
Yeah.
That was the vibe.
Well, I talked to HR. They wouldn't let me bring in anything that had a flame or any kind of saw that I had to plug in.
I just picture you with a flame and one of those visors you have to pull down.
Yeah, like I'm welding.
Yeah.
We tried. I actually watched that video recently. We destroyed it pretty well. Like, we got it.
There are pieces floating around the office. You see like that ugly green that the Eagles had in their uniform that year. You see it floating around the office. I've held on to a couple pieces.
Yeah, it's like an elbow here, a knee there. Kind of
like
weird.
Little pieces of ash.
Yeah, it's memories, really.
Floating around.
We could have like burned it and like made little necklaces out of it or something. I don't know. But yeah, R.I.P. that poster. It went down, but not without a fight. Just like Carson Wentz, I guess. EJ, you have a thought on who the Dolphins should
I feel
target?
like the guys we talked about are the guys that you probably have to consider. The one guy wasn't mentioned here, but we did mention yesterday that I wonder if they discuss is Bryce Young. I still wonder about that. Now, he looked terrible in Carolina. I'm not here to defend how bad he looked in Carolina. But we did see Mike McDaniel basically rejuvenate another young quarterback into a Tagovailoa, a guy who was also kind of mentally broken, as we now know. He even said himself what he went through with Brian Flores. Because he's mobile, because he has talent, at least we thought he did coming out of college, I wonder if that's an option they explore as well, because this Tua thing might not be just this year. The reality is this could be something that they're dealing with forever. Maybe he doesn't ever come back and be the same guy.
Right.
Bryce Young's a young guy. Maybe you could turn his career around. I'd throw a flyer at him.
What about Trey Lance? I don't.
Trey Lance is. I just don't think
McDaniel
he's,
knows
I don't think
Trey
he's good.
Lance.
Yeah, that's true. And if he
They had
hasn't
a year together, I believe.
if he hasn't made the move yet, but I mean, okay, so let's pause on the Bryce Young part of it. I do like the idea in theory, especially if it's like a longer play, but then you're talking about the former number one overall pick's going to be a backup for Tua, maybe if he comes back. Maybe that's possible. But I don't know if McDaniel has the time to build Bryce up. Like, he had a whole offseason to basically tell Tua, forget whatever Brian Flores said to you. You're the man. You're going to be awesome in this offense. He doesn't have that type of time to really work with him, right?
No, he won't have that time, but he will have Skyler and Snoop Huntley there, who could probably, like, Bryce is not coming in first week and he's starting. Yep. You can play those guys for a couple games. They may win you one or two games. Like, they may be able to stay afloat for a while. And then once those guys start to really fall off, because it's going to happen, because they're good but marginal players, then maybe say, okay, Bryce maybe now understand this offense. We gave him a little confidence. Now, you talk about the weapons he had in I don't even want to call them weapons in Carolina.
Players.
Compared to players that he had in Carolina, compared to the weapons he'll have with the Miami Dolphins, maybe this is a different guy we see. You know, I think he's a guy with the highest upside.
It's a bit of a false comparison to Bryce. I mean, you saw the record. He was a playoff level quarterback with Brian Flores. At least they won. Like, he won more with Flores than he did with McDaniel at the same rate. Bryce Young's 2-16 as a starter, and those 2 wins were not because of Bryce Young. Like, he's the worst number one pick of all time. Like, Tua was not great with Brian Flores, but he was totally fine. I mean,
but there was a lot more going on with Carolina. I think that they did everything they could to basically usher and help ruin this dude, right?
No, I don't.
Changing coaches all the time, changing coordinators all the time. You don't think that had an impact?
Yeah, I do, but I think you're underestimating how bad Bryce Young is. It's like I call it the Space Jam effect. When they steal Sean Bradley and Muggsy Bogues' shoes and they forget how to function as human beings. Bryce Young cannot run and throw like he used to at Alabama. Something happened.
855-212-4227. Is this a move that Miami has to make? Tua's on IR, have to go get a backup quarterback. What do you think about Bryce Young? Does that make any sense? Probably get him for a third rounder?
I don't think he's even that.
Oh my God. If you give a third rounder for Bryce Young and you're Miami right now, you're an idiot franchise.
Well, what did
third
Trey Lance
rounder
get?
is really
Fourth?
high. but Trey Lance has won a football game in his life. Bryce Young is 2-16.
Not many.
What's Trey Lance's record? I'm sure it's above 500.
Well, he played like 4 games. I think he's 2-2,
Honestly,
actually.
I think the mystery of Trey Lance probably helped him when it came to a trade because it's like, well, we don't really have evidence that he's bad, so he might be good. So give us a 4th-round pick. I think with the Panthers, you're not really negotiating from a position of strength. You just benched him for Andy Dalton in year 2. I think you'd be like, hey, man, like, you guys clearly don't think he's any good. I don't care if he's the number 1 pick. Like, take this 5th pick or 6th pick and be happy with it.
And part ways.
Yeah.
855-212-4227. As we mentioned, we've got a really fun show for you today, including a great debate that's going to have you in stitches. That comes your way later on in the show, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We also have a Steelers situation to get into. Lots of football today. Lots of you at 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break.
I got an idea. I'm going to hold it. You stomp on it.
Okay. Hold
Get up on here.
All right, let me get up on the table.
We're going to take this thing down if
All right, now I'm up on the table.
All
right.
All right, give it a good kick here.
Okay.
All right, let me take a kick.
Now you get up there.
All right.
Okay. Oh, boy. All right. Now Perloff's up on the table. Hold on. All right. How about like that? Careful. Yes. Destruction.
Yeah,
Still
that's okay. I'm going to need a few stitches for just hitting my head on a sharp light up there. Honestly, I'm in worse shape than the actual poster. What is this thing made of?
I don't know. All right. There we go. All right. Now we can rip. Sort of. What is this? There we go.
Turns out we needed that power saw.
Yeah, I know.
This was a good workout.
I can't get the leverage.
We've been talking about destroying this thing for a month, and we can barely get it done.
I didn't realize this posters. Gosh, Sports Illustrated made these posters really well.
Oh, boy.
All right. Whew. Do we think it's properly destroyed?
It's seen better days, that's for sure. It's in 3 large chunks right now, and there's white foam all over the studio.
Yeah, we realize that.
Which people will not be happy about.
No, they're not. Okay.
Yeah.
What do we think? Is this good?
I think we did a great job.
All right.
Did it feel good?
You know, it did. Whew. I think it did feel pretty good.
My favorite moment was you're like, all right, let's just rip it. And you're
2 minutes,
as hard as you
30
can,
seconds
and
remaining.
the darn thing is not budging at all for about 10 seconds. That was great.
All right. Well.
Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. We're debating who the Miami Dolphins should look at if they don't want to go with the Skylar Thompson, Snoop Huntley combo for the rest of the season. Well, at least until week 8 when Tua Tagovailoa can come off the IR. I got to tell you some of the popular names. Omar Kelly, who's followed the Dolphins forever, has been throwing Teddy Bridgewater's name out because he was in Miami. I don't totally see that. And CJ Beathard, Florio reported that it was on their short list, who I think was with McDaniel. Clearly, you got to get somebody who knows Mike McDaniel's offense. That's why, to me, Jimmy G should be a strong option. And I actually, EJ brought up Trey Lance. That makes sense too.
Bryce Young.
Right. But we also mentioned Trey
Yes, we
Lance,
did.
where we were talking about somebody who doesn't have to come up to speed with the terminology is important. So the thing about Mike McDaniel and that coaching tree is that's about 70% of the quarterbacks in the NFL have
few to choose
had
from.
some version. Another name the Giants' Drew Lock has been thrown around is because they could go to Tommy Cutlets as their backup and get Drew out of the building and stop threatening Daniel Jones. So they're pretty much every name. And
Threatening with what? A butter knife? No, I mean, at some point, Daniel Jones has got to get benched because he's got these injury guarantees
Right.
in his contract, so you can't afford that.
Go to Tommy Cutlets, not Drew Lock. Because Drew Lock is obviously is a competent NFL quarterback. Actually, I think he'd be pretty good in Miami. He's got arm strength. Why not Drew Lock? But I just don't like them, but they're going with these guys. And I know there's some more ideas in the chat.
Yeah, well, let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Wayne is in Kentucky. He's got a candidate for us. Wayne, who should the Dolphins be circling as a new QB?
Mac Jones. You got a quarterback that spreads the ball around like Tua. They've played together. And Mac Jones also played in the division.
You know, Wayne, it's not a terrible idea. And we kind of forget Mac Jones sort of sitting there behind Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Wayne, thank you for the good idea. Yeah, knows Tua well, maybe not a threat. They were teammates at Alabama, so there's like maybe guys are rooting for each other, or maybe that makes it a little easier. He was in the division. Yeah, maybe that helps a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I didn't love the fit, but I then, as Wayne says, he was behind Tua, and that all worked out great for Alabama. I don't know if that
Who else
translates.
does Jacksonville have, though? And
Well, I think Beathard, who we just mentioned, was in Jacksonville, and he got hurt in the preseason or in training camp, and they got rid of him. That's why I think Beathard's floating out there.
So right now, according to their official depth chart, there's no one behind Mac Jones.
Right.
So whoever's on practice squad would have to be that person. Just because Trevor Lawrence got hurt last year. Now, Trevor Lawrence is one of the guys who will get hurt and still play if it's not so bad as we saw last year. But those results weren't great.
Right. I think actually the Jags should just bring back CJ Beathard, who was in the building. So then do a little flip-flop there.
But what do you think you get for him, though?
Oh, a 7th-round pick?
See, if I'm Jacksonville, though, the juice is not worth the squeeze for that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
If you're going to hand me maybe a 5th, and if he plays a certain amount, maybe it goes up to a 4th or something like that, maybe even a 4th. Like, Miami's got to be
4th-round pick
desperate.
for Mac
I mean,
Jones?
he was the 15th overall pick, wasn't he, or something around there? He made the playoffs one year. Don't ask him what happened in that game. But it's fine. See, that's the thing. It's a 7th-round pick. Why am I helping out why am I helping out the Dolphins if I'm the Jags? We could be fighting for a wild card spot.
So Malik Willis was a 7th-round pick. I think that's about same. Maybe a 6th-round pick. What would you? I mean, Justin
Then I'm
Fields.
not doing it.
Justin Fields was a 6th-round pick.
Oh, I get it, but then I'm not doing it because, if I'm
that's
fighting with Miami for a wild card spot, I don't need Mac Jones coming and beating me one day or something.
That is the underlying problem with this entire conversation. Most of the other teams that we're matching up quarterbacks with aren't doing it.
Yeah.
Unless you're offering a real pick. Say you're the Panthers, you probably say, all right, you can have Bryce Young, but give me a third-round pick. And I think the rest of the NFL will be like, no way I'm doing that. That's a premium pick.
No, I get it. But again, like you're asking for somebody who's the number 1 overall pick. And
sunk cost, it doesn't matter. I don't care where he was picked. You saw him play.
What about Zach Wilson? 3rd string in Denver.
That's not bad. I don't know.
Won 7 games last year. Who else on this list won 7 games? Granted, had a great defense, but never had the weapons like this. Maybe Zach Wilson is your guy. Anyway, keep them coming. 855-212-4227.
I can't see Zach Wilson unseating Skylar Thompson. I think Skylar's played a little better.
Possible. Andrew Bogish is here with headlines for us. What's up?
Guys, good morning. These headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. Once upon a time, Jose Altuve did not want his jersey ripped off because of a personal tattoo or maybe to keep cheating equipment concealed. Last night, he had no problem getting pseudo-naked to prove a point.
He took his shoe off. And he's trying to show him where it hit him. And now he's been ejected. Or Spada has anyway. One of them have been ejected. It might have been Altuve. Just showing him where he got hit. I can prove it. See, I got hit, and I'm going to show you where it is. It's right here on my foot. Look at this.
That's from Padres TV. Altuve and his manager, Joe Espada, ejected for this argument. It began top 9, tie game, tie-breaking run and scoring position. Altuve bounces the ball towards third, doesn't run to first. He says, and appears to be right, that the ball clipped his left foot. That's a foul ball. Say they never saw it, so the play goes on. Altuve's out at first. The threat's over. He argues. He walks away, takes off his left cleat and shoe, and goes back to say, here's the mark on my foot. I got hit, and that's why he gets ejected.
Sometimes you get hit somewhere in the hand, and you take your batting glove to show that you got hit. I was expecting to do the same thing.
Yeah, it did not work.
So this is not reviewable iReplay, which again is silly.
Yeah.
Because you have the replay, why not use it, especially for something like this, which is like,
and not a judgment call. Like, okay, it is foot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Black or white.
The other part, what do you think that foot, was it bloody?
Just like a red mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bloody? How would it break the skin? That'd be a big problem. If you got hit by a baseball and your foot was bleeding.
Well, if you hit right in the toenail, I mean, not to get like too graphic about it,
that's
but
true.
it could probably break the toenail off or something. I mean, it's not like it's a beer league softball game. This pitch is coming in at 90 minimum.
Right. But if something like you think about it, that broke the skin, that would be a severe situation.
I also think an umpire can't just take your foot as the
Of course
evidence.
not.
I mean, come on. I mean,
Why
also
not?
because I hate to say this, but have you ever seen athletes' feet?
I have. It's gnarled,
like
disgusting
Shaq and
mess.
Shaq keeps taking his shoe off inside the NBA. I don't know why. Like we all want to see that.
It's like a gnarled tree
right?
trunk.
Like I think every athlete would just have that as evidence. Be look at my foot. It's clearly damaged. Like every umpire would be like, I guess you did get hit. Look at your feet; they look terrible.
Yeah, but you would know the difference between like how athletes' feet, not John Madden tough acting to act an athlete's foot, but how athletes' feet look bad is like their toes are all mangled and like like weirdly on top of each other and stuff. If you get hit by a pitch, it's going to be all
like a
fresh,
big red mark.
or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe bloody.
Right. Or you just have feet like Maggie's, and we'd all know when you got hit.
Just gigantic.
They can't be missed.
I'm
Foul
running
ball.
to first, just floppy like a clown.
Foul ball could barely miss Maggie.
Home runs clip her toe on the way out.
You don't strike and hit Maggie's feet.
I can't even run backwards without falling over. It's only forwards.
The Astros did win the game, by the way, 4-3 in 10 in San Diego. Those Padres lose no ground in the NL West, though, still 3.5 behind the Dodgers. They lost a shootout in Miami, 11-9, but Shohei Ohtani did hit homer number 48. The Brewers did not clinch the NL Central last night, losing at home to the Phillies 5-1, but their magic number did drop to 1, with the Cubs losing at home to the A's 4-3. Yahoo Sports says the ACC, Clemson, and Florida State have been talking again about their financial relationship. Maybe the conference will agree to even greater revenue sharing based on performance and TV ratings if the schools drop their lawsuit against the league. An agreement, and one is not imminent apparently, could also include changing the expiration of the ACC's current grant of rights, which is 2036, and is the thing keeping those two schools in the conference for now.
Is that all about the fact that they haven't looked good? Is that if they called off the dogs on their litigation to get out of the conference because Florida State's terrible now?
So I saw multiple tweets from college writers saying that this is because there's actually no place for them to go.
Right. I was thinking
like that
this
no
probably
one
isn't the
wants
way it
those
works,
two
but
schools,
like Florida State can't win now. Like if you put them in the SEC, it ain't going to be pretty. I was wondering, like, because I think EJ made this joke at a certain point. It's like, or a lot of people make the joke like, "Oh, you're too good for the ACC and you can't beat anybody." So I do think it's funny that they're bad, and I think Clemson's headed in the wrong direction too as a franchise.
Yeah. The Giants can't mess up their kicking situation for a while, I hope. Graham Gano goes on IR with Sunday's hamstring injury. They signed Greg Joseph off the Lions practice squad. The Colts have placed D lineman DeForest Buckner on IR with an ankle injury. And we have joked, Pearl, about the number of records being broken in the WNBA. This might be the one from last night. Asia Wilson set in a single-season rebounding mark.
Who'd she beat? Some Hall of Famer, some legend, some old-timer?
You know the answer already. I can tell by the sarcasm in your voice.
Did she be, was it somebody from the 80s, what year, the 2000s?
No.
Or was it somebody who just entered the league about 2 months ago?
Yeah, no. She broke Angel Reese's single-season rebounding record only because Angel Reese broke her wrist recently and can't keep adding on to her total. So now rookies are breaking records, and then veterans are breaking the rookie record in the same exact month, basically.
Did this league exist until Caitlin Clark arrived?
Did they not keep stats?
I don't. It's ridiculous how easy it is to set a record this year, the WNBA.
Well, I don't think it's easy. I just think it's happening.
It's not. I don't know what the right word is. It's not. It's funny in a simple, funny way, not in a dismissive, negative way. Like, this one is hilarious. A rookie breaks the single-season rebounding record and then loses it 2 weeks later.
Well, I mean, Asia Wilson did the single-season scoring record, right? But she only broke a record that was set last year.
Correct.
This is like what happens when, leagues start to explode or something. Or I imagine, when, certain countries, their economy all of a sudden explodes. It's like they just keep setting the bar, new bar, new bar, new bar. That's where we're at.
But but does that mean that when you say new bar, you mean the quality?
25 years old.
Yeah, but so that's 25 years of evidence that every single record it's the pace of play, right?
Yes.
That's the
And
explanation.
they have 6 more games now than they
More
used
games.
to.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So season used to be 34 games, now it's 40.
When did it switch to 40?
Fairly recently, right, EJ? I would say maybe 5 years or less.
Yeah, it was recent. So that's why we're seeing these records getting broken partly.
Right.
I almost feel like I don't even want to. If it's a season-long record, I don't want to hear about him anymore. Just if you
Let's wait a little.
Yeah, if it's okay, Angel Reese's streak of rebounds, that's a little different. Okay, you went on a long streak that's in the season, that's fine. If you just if you're just doing counting stats, we need a 10-year grace period on records, and then we could just reset after 10 years and say, okay, these are the records now. Anybody who breaks them, you're now impressive.
It's like quarterbacks with the passing yardage. It's all right, if you're not throwing for 4,000 yards, it's a problem.
Wow,
5,000, okay, maybe we could talk, but
that until last year. Now all of a sudden they're headed the wrong way. I have a question. Asia Wilson's in her 7th year, and her stats have exploded by 45% this year. I mean, she's like nothing. She's a completely different player. What is going on in this league where all of a sudden everybody is performing at a different per game level? Is the pace of play that much more drastic?
That she's on a good team. I mean, a lot of stuff.
She's just better too.
She's become.
Did she already
maybe the greatest
win a
player
championship last year?
But she scores away from the basket now, which she didn't used to do, stuff like that.
I mean, her numbers have
developed,
ballooned like crazy. Okay.
Yeah. And it's a better teammate.
But I do think it's got to be more possessions, and the numbers are going up and up and up and up and up.
She's playing more minutes now too, which is a big thing. She's up 34 minutes a game, which is her career high.
I have a question about, so Angel Reese clearly has a lot of endorsements, and she does a lot of, she's making money. I wonder if there was a clause in her an escalator, hey, if you get this record, Maybe
Ooh,
you
yeah.
get like an extra 10 grand or 15 or 20.
Well, I wonder if
but
she would.
Now she won't.
I wonder if she would have even thought about that, though. I mean, she was not even the top 5 pick. She probably is as surprised as anyone else that she's the best rebounder in league history.
Well, I think she really set her sights on being that person.
Yeah, but it is shocking how quickly she succeeded in that realm because she was the number 7 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I think unless other people saw it coming that she was going to be this level of star in the WNBA to come in as a rookie and rewrite the record book, that's a huge accomplishment.
855-212-4227. Bogush, thank you. See you guys on the phones. You got some good ideas for who the Miami Dolphins should be targeting for a new quarterback. Tua gets put on IR, and IR might honestly just be the beginning. When you're talking about concussions like this is not just returning from like a strained MCL or something. So we'll get to that. We've got a lot more to come, including check-in with the Cowboys, of course, and also which 2-0 team is really just fool's gold. The answer you might not like. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. 50 Cent taking some victory laps yesterday, by the way. In a little more serious news with obviously the Diddy indictments and him being in jail now. Puffy, Diddy, whatever he goes by, in a lot of trouble. And he had this beef with 50 Cent forever. And now 50 Cent is definitely tap dancing a little bit because of on the, I don't say on the grave of, but.
That's not the headline I saw.
What's that?
I just feel there were certain aspects of that indictment that got a lot of attention yesterday.
There were.
Certain products that were floating around the Diddy mansion got the internet on fire.
Yeah, it was a weird detail because this is obviously quite serious. He's definitely being charged with like sex trafficking and all of these horrible things. And we saw the video with Cassie and what a despicable person this guy is. But the one detail that did get a lot of attention is 1,000 bottles of lube.
Yeah, I didn't know that we were going to say it, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Is there a euphemism I should have used? Baby oil, I think.
Baby oil was the other
Was the
product
other. 1,000 bottles. Who even counts that? Are you like 5, 10, 15? Like, how do you even, like, when you, like, count heads at a party, like, how many people are here? That's a lot of bottles.
What do they call the parties? The
freak-offs.
Freak-offs. Right. By the way, I saw a few journalists were like, can we stop talking about the baby oil and start talking about the actual indictment?
I know. It's just one of those things where you see that detail and it just sort of, like, all of it kind of blows your mind. And the very serious stuff is going to get litigated in court and this is not going away and all that stuff. But, yeah, 1,000 bottles.
I mean, look, I feel like while the allegations are very serious, I think when you're talking about trying to determine, all right, what's the level of criminality, you're saying a guy is doing sex trafficking with like these weird parties.
Yeah.
I think it's relevant that he had thousands of bottles of this stuff.
Yeah,
I think it is. I know the internet likes to joke about everything, but I think this is in play to talk about. Like, what the hell?
Oh, I think that's why it made it into the indictment. It's like, this is not a normal thing to have at your home.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but how do you know?
Some people are like, don't make this about, kink shaming. And I'm like,
wait a minute.
2 bottles or 3 bottles, like nobody, like, do whatever you want. It's weird to have 1,000 bottles in your house, 2 houses.
It's like, what are you, a frat doing some kind of, what was that scene in Old School where Blue was in there?
Wrestling.
The wrestling.
The wrestling, yeah.
But that being said, like, it's certainly not a crime to have that. I mean, the question is, he'll say, well, people were there voluntarily. Like that, obviously.
Oh, he's pleading not guilty to all this stuff. I don't think it's going to hold up, but.
Well, yeah, but you never know because this is very hard to actually get people to guilty on this kind of charge. I mean, listen, we know it in sports.
Oh, no, I get it. And powerful people and rich people definitely get a leg up in our justice system. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
The deck is stacked in their favor. But I think there's probably enough here.
He will say people were there voluntarily. I'm sure that's what, because I'm sure some people were there voluntarily.
Right, but maybe not all. And
that's the key issue here.
I think we're looking at these cases a little differently too in like the post Me Too era. But anyway, that was a detail. And sorry, when you played 50 Cent coming out of break, I couldn't help but think of the people who had beef with Diddy. Here's a question. I was jogging yesterday and Hypnotize came up on my mix. And I was like, I feel kind of weird listening to this now. Do you guys ever get that?
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be a tough one. because I know there are a lot of, like, R. Kelly's very easy to me. Just
don't listen to
throw
Chris
him out.
Brown.
Right,
Don't
throw
listen
him
to
out.
it.
That's fine. But to me, like, Diddy's weird because there's so many songs where, like, he's not even actually featured. Like, he just has, like, ad libs or, you know.
Or he produced them?
Yeah, he produced them. Or he, you know, maybe he has a feature, but it's just him saying, like, one line in the beginning of a song. Like, those are the ones where I'm like, all right, do I have to throw all this whole song out? Now, like, I guess I have to, but it's just, like, he's so prevalent in that era of 90s music. Like, he's just everywhere, which everybody couldn't stand for a little while. Because it's like, God, just go in the background. Get away. But, like, I'm going through the catalog, and I'm like, this is 30% of my music on my iPhone. Like, what am I going to do? This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, forget it. Who cares about Diddy? It's Kanye is the big issue.
Kanye, I mean, Michael Jackson was a big one, obviously, when a lot of those allegations came out.
I mean, Diddy's stuff is okay. Kanye's a real issue in our household because my daughter loves him, but then we probably don't play him much.
Yeah.
But
Michael Jackson, I think.
Diddy is like, if you're doing, I know Diddy's music itself, nobody will ever care about that. It's Biggie, it's anybody with Bad Boy, like that whole 93, 94, 95, which is so important in hip hop. There's some Bad Boy artists, he wasn't even on their songs, but he's on other people's songs. Nas, like, he's just everywhere.
He's just a huge figure in music, what do you guys do about that? Do you separate the art versus the artist, or is it you do, Nico?
Yeah, I still listen to all that music.
Yep.
I don't care about anything that they do away from that. I mean, I care, like, it's not good, but I still listen to the song because I like the song.
Got it. I think a lot of people do. The art from the artist. We were just talking about Roman Polanski yesterday. I don't know how we were talking about that. Do you Woody Allen, same kind of things. Do you still see the movies? Do you still pay to go see the movies when they put them out?
I think with streaming, I think it's important for me to not stream their music. So, like, for Kanye, for example, like, I made a conscious decision. Nothing that he performed. He produced so much, it's impossible to get out of all of his production. But nothing he performed, I stream. And I haven't for 4 or 5 years, whatever. That's important to me. Like, if I've already had the music, I own the music. There's only so much you could do about that. But to me, it's more about trying to hurt him in his wallet.
Well, let's say bring it to sports. Do you care about the character of the players on your team if they can win for you? And I think a majority of fans don't care.
I think that first, I think it's tough, specifically with team sports, because, like, if I've been rooting for a team my whole life, right, and I want to support them, and they bring in somebody that I find distasteful, right, because of their personal life, why should I have to give up my team? A lot of times this is like a little part of your identity, or maybe a big part of your identity, to root for these certain teams. It's like, because Buffalo brought in this guy who's got some bad things in his past, now I got to give up my whole identity of being a Bills fan. It's a horrible predicament, I think, that the teams put the fan base into. Because, like, when they had, like, Ronald Darby and guys like that, like, I don't want to root for this dude at all because of stuff in his past, or more acutely probably what Browns fans are going through now with Deshaun. It's like, you didn't ask for this, and you stuck with the organization through all these terrible quarterbacks and all the low times. Are you just supposed to jump ship?
That's a nifty rationalization there by you, Maggie. I like that.
It's the reality. What were Steeler fans going to do with Ben Roethlisberger? You're just going to just turn your back on the whole team?
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And by the way, I actually don't know anything about it. I don't remember Ronald Darby's past, but I'll tell you right now, he blew some big coverages when he was in Philly. You just can't. It's too hard to keep track of football. There's so many guys on the roster, too. It's a huge sport. I think in other sports it might be a little easier, but there's no way every football team, because they're gigantic rosters, has somebody with something distasteful. That's just the percentage of the population.
Right. You kind of hope that just, like, there's more good than bad, right?
I mean, that's like people who say, I want to divest or something from this. Like, look at the other companies in your 401k. Just there's a lot of crap that goes on in this world if you can't pick and choose where I'm going to make this stand. Except for, I do agree with what EJ was saying and what you were saying. Artists, it's a little more direct. When a songwriter, like, what that person did, and I would not stream Kanye as well.
Right. 855-212-4227. That wasn't on the rundown, but here we are. I mean, it's a real thing that Browns fans are definitely going through, the most obvious ones.
Right, but if he was really, if Deshaun was playing really well, the discussion would be so different.
The latest case came up.
The narrative is very different. I mean, listen.
Ray Lewis is the biggest one, I think. One of the biggest
I mean, Aaron Hernandez. I think if people had known what he had done and he was winning them Super Bowls, like, I still think they would have said like, "Oh, this is terrible," but guy's really good at football. It's hard to separate. I think you had a great point. If you've been rooting for the team your whole life, what are you supposed to sit there and study these guys' background?
Have you ever given up your fandom because you didn't like somebody on the roster? 855-212-4227. Real life stuff here. Coming up, which 2-0 team is Fool's Gold? We'll tell you that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
When your team's off to a 2-0 start, man, is life good. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All questions you may have had in the offseason, Pearl, you get early answers. This guy's going to be doing this. This guy's going to be doing that. New coordinators come in. All right, this looks like it's working. But we know sometimes these early starts can be a bit of fool's gold. So today we're going to take our picks for which 2-0 team do you think is really just hanging on for dear life and reality is about to hit them square in the jaw.
All right, it's only 2 games, small sample size, but I'm going to dig deep into the analytics and realize that the Pittsburgh Steelers have done nothing on offense. They're 30th in yardage. They're in the bottom 5 in scoring. They cannot win football games by scoring 15 points a game, Maggie. You're shaking your head. You might be right. How many games are you going to win if you cannot get to 20 points? The thing about the Steelers, look at their schedule. It starts off super easy. The first half is great. They'll probably build some more wins. But then they get the entire AFC North all over their schedule in the second half of the season. And you know where Mike Tomlin always lands right around 9-8, 10-7. They're probably going to have this gaudy early season record and come back to earth just based on their schedule, because it's been a great start at Atlanta, whose offense is clearly finding itself, and Denver, Bo Nix doesn't know how to play quarterback yet.
Right.
I just think that's a definition of fool's gold. We're seeing a gaudy 2-0 record that's not real.
You're right about weeks 11 through 18. It's nothing but AFC North opponents, and then the 2 non-AFC North opponents are your Philadelphia Eagles and the Chiefs. So.
Well, the Eagles might be it's at Philly, so that's tricky. I mean, the Eagles might be out of it by then, but the Chiefs, that's not good.
Or the Eagles might fire their coach and find some mojo. I don't know. So that's kind of a TBD. So I went back last night and watched the Steeler game against the Broncos, because I feel like I was like, I need to just see this again, because maybe I'm not seeing. Yesterday I said my top 5 things I'm already sick of this NFL season after 2 weeks, and my second choice was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were number 2. The offense is number 2 on my list, but the defense is great. 10 penalties in that game. There actually were maybe 2 or 3 explosive plays that Justin Fields that could have really changed not only his final stat line, which was dreadful, 13 of 20 for 117 yards. You're right, that's not going to win you a lot of games in the NFL. But there were a couple explosive plays where he actually did try to go to the middle of the field, and they got wiped out because of penalties. I mean, if that's something that can be addressed and cleaned up, maybe Fields starts to look a little bit better, because we know he is going to be starting next week.
By the way, have you ever seen a quarterback overthrow people more than Bo Nix overthrows people?
I thought you were about to say Fields.
Does Bo Nix have the strongest arm in the history of the world? I see, by 40 yards, he was overthrowing a 12-yard pass. It was one of the most unbelievable performances I've ever seen in my life.
I know. I was thinking betting-wise, I'm like, do I just go through Denver's entire schedule and bet the under on every single game that they're playing in?
Yeah, did you see also when Sean Payton grabbed the guy? I felt like that was not some guy had an idiotic penalty for the Broncos, and Sean Payton was going to murder him on the sideline. Anyway, that is actually relevant to the Steelers. Did they just beat one of the bottom 3 teams in the NFL and the Broncos? So what do we judge here? I mean, the Ravens lost to the Chiefs.
Yep.
And then they mysteriously blew it against the Raiders. I think the Bengals have lost really close to the Chiefs. I just think if you look at the schedule, the Steelers 2-0, I watch all 3 teams, right? Each of you. It doesn't feel like the Steelers are head and shoulders above those other teams. In fact, I still put Baltimore and Cincinnati ahead of them.
They actually have a really big game. To me, Pittsburgh has a really big game this weekend, so it's their home opener, and they're going to be playing against the Chargers. And depending, if you think the Bengals are actually going to come back and be really good, I know you picked them for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you think the Ravens are just getting through some early season What did Lamar say? We don't have our mojo. If they're actually going to right the ship, this could be a big game if the Steelers and the Chargers end up fighting for wild card spots. Like this.
That's another team that we don't know anything.
We know nothing about them.
We don't have the slightest idea who the Chargers are.
Yeah. We're doing 2-0 teams in the NFL that we think are fool's gold.
By the way, we should bet the under on that game because the Chargers have not. They are slow and plotting on offense, and the Steelers are slow and plotting on offense. I'm curious. That might be a tough watch.
Probably. But I want to know a little more about what's going on with Justin Herbert's leg. I just that's a stay away for me right now in terms of betting, but I am very curious.
I think Justin Fields might have more yards passing than Justin Herbert, believe it or not. Herbert's one bottom in the league.
The best thing has been Quentin Johnston came alive last week. Again, it's against the Panthers, so everyone should look good against the Panthers, but he caught a nice touchdown as a former number 1 pick, first-round pick for the Chargers, and Joe Alt looks really good. He's their tackle.
And obviously J.K. Dobbins.
And J.K. Dobbins looks rejuvenated.
But anyway, well, who's your 2-0 team?
Okay, so my 2-0 team, and this is going to be unpopular because I don't want to be that person who goes in and rains on the fun parade, and they are a city known for their parades. It's the Saints, guys. I hate to say it, and I don't want to be that person. EJ's already disgusted with
2-0. Like, wait, are you saying that they're not going to go 17-0? Maybe you're right, maybe. But what do you mean, Saints? Saints are amazing.
Saints are amazing, and I love watching them, and it's fun. And watching Alvin Kamara do his thing is very fun. And watching Derek Carr score a touchdown, get up from the pile, and hit the Michael Jackson, that was something I wasn't expecting. But the problem is that Derek Carr has been here before. And I got to give a tip of the cap to the Associated Press because they did the legwork on this. But Derek Carr has been 2-0 and looked great 3 other times in his career and not made the playoffs those 3 times. In 2017, they started 2-0. They only won 4 games the rest of the season.
Did he get hurt?
I don't think so. 2020, they start 2-0. They finish 8-8. Last year, they started 2-0. They had a winning record, but they missed the playoffs. So I think.
Yeah, but he got hurt last year for sure.
But he still played.
Yeah, but he was a completely different player.
So for whatever reason, I don't know if I can trust this. Obviously, the 40 points a game, guys, that's gonna come down. But I hate to be that person because I know I know, EJ. Why are you so mad?
By the way,
because it's New Orleans. Who doesn't love New Orleans?
I love New
Bourbon
Orleans.
Street, the food.
It's my favorite place to visit.
And then Super Bowl this year. That's where we're going. You're already getting the people mad now. Like we got a long way to go, Maggie. We can't be turning on them this early.
My best friend lives in New Orleans. I love New Orleans.
My family, my married family, half of them are from New Orleans. This is I can't believe we're doing this.
I'm sorry. Listen, it could be the Bills. Do you want me to do the case for the Bills? The Bills at Baltimore, at Houston, at the New York Jets. This could turn into 2-3 very, very easily. Plus, the Bills have a very desperate Jacksonville Jaguars team coming in on Monday night because could be the Jags season on the line.
Bills have won the AFC 47 years in a row. The Bills will be fine.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the Saints for a second. Obviously, Derek Carr is super comfortable in this offense.
Looks great.
So I basically, remember they were 12-4 with the Raiders that one year?
Yeah.
The ball never hits the ground when Derek Carr is on a heater. The question is, can this heater last? They play the Eagles this week. The Eagles, there is not a single quarterback in the NFL who can't torch that secondary. He's going to go off in this game. I don't know if they win the game because Jalen Hurts will probably try and run on every single down. But I just don't think the Derek Carr thing is going to slow down. Kamara will get hurt. I've had him on my fantasy team a million times. That's a given. But Derek Carr is for real. If he is healthy, which is always an issue, really fully healthy, the guy is a very accurate passer.
Okay, so what you're telling me is you think Derek Carr, who's been in the league for 11 years, is going to have, is this like a Rich Gannon thing where all of a sudden he's winning an MVP later into his career or something like that? What we're asking about fool's gold. I'm not saying that the Saints aren't improved. I'm not saying that they can't make the playoffs. But guys, do we really think this is going to continue?
Well, I mean, Carr is a 4-time Pro Bowler. I mean, he's had a lot of success.
I think the reason
What's
why
his playoff record?
Not good.
He was a Raiders quarterback.
0-1.
Yeah, one game they lost. He wasn't that great.
Yeah, but he was
half.
their best year. He was hurt, and they had to go with Mike McGlinchey.
Yes.
No,
Not Mike McGlinchey. Yeah.
Connor Cook, I thought it was, or one of those guys. Mike McGlinchey's the offensive lineman.
Well, who's the Penn State quarterback? It was I have the wrong. Yeah.
I thought it was Connor Cook from Michigan State.
It could have been Connor Cook. Sorry.
Matt McGloin, maybe?
Oh, I thought it was Matt McGloin. You're right. Is it Connor Cook who started that game?
My memory is failing me on this one. I'm sorry, I
It
can't.
was like that was a long time ago, actually, because he was in his second year, I think. Mike McGlinchey. They had to go to a left tackle to play quarterback. That's how bad it was.
The Raiders are weird.
But Derek Carr has always been good, not great. I mean, honestly, remember, you're a Jets fan, EJ. A lot of people wanted him here in New York. And actually, after Rodgers got hurt, everyone was like, we should have gone with Derek Carr.
I saw people after the first half of week 2 saying we should have had Derek Carr here.
I was one of the people who said you should have had Derek Carr.
Yeah,
he was the steadier ship.
Yeah, but I mean this year. I mean, I'm talking about after seeing the Titans game. They were watching after the Jets struggled, and they were like, man, we should have Derek Carr here, not Aaron Rodgers. And and I get what Maggie's saying. I know I was a little joking a little bit earlier. But the only reason why I want to believe in the Saints is because even if the offense comes down a little bit,
the defense is good.
The defense is great.
And who have they played?
Dallas is a good.
Yeah,
Dallas is a good team. I know we
get
joke about them, but that's a 12-win team 3 years in a row,
I know,
and they
but
just mollywopped them.
I get it, and it's a great win about Dallas. I don't have Dallas making the playoffs this year. So again, that was a very impressive win. You win in Dallas, regular season, anytime really.
Bottom line is, for me, the biggest issue is they have an easy schedule. I mean, they're in the NFC South, which is pretty good this year, but still, like the Saints. No, I'm not talking about Derek Carr MVP, but the Saints really have, now you see it, if they can stay healthy, they have a great path to the playoffs because this schedule is easy.
Yeah, you're right. It is. I mean, you're at Kansas City in a couple weeks. That's not going to be easy. I think Tampa now, some of the division games might be a little bit crazier.
Like they destroyed Tampa at the end of last year.
That's true. But were they playing full? Yeah, 47. It was like
they were both playing for something. The division was still up for grabs. They have like a lot of Rams and Giants and Commanders on here.
It's true. They
look good in that shape. Yes, Derek Carr is not going to win MVP, to your point.
But, I mean, I feel like now I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad girl.
Well, you want to do a show bet that they make the playoffs? Because I will definitely take that. We're going to New Orleans. There's a lot of food down there.
No. I love New Orleans. I know no one's going to buy my appeal. Or like
I'll buy you some po' boys. Can Maggie eat 15 po' boys in an hour?
Or 100 what's it called?
Beignets?
Beignets.
Yeah, beignets.
No, I'm not doing anything like that. Because you want to know why I actually love that food so much? I don't want to ruin it for myself. I couldn't eat pizza or jelly for months after I did some of those challenges.
What about I don't know, 10 bowls of gumbo?
Do you want me to die?
10 bowls of gumbo? That's relatively healthy.
Gumbo? Have you ever seen anyone make gumbo?
It's like rice and fish and broth.
Butter? Don't look at the amount of butter
Sausage.
that's in gumbo.
Gumbo is relatively healthy. Butter is not going to kill you. It's way better than beignets.
I think your stomach, though, is going to expand. All that rice.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, you eat it, you're like, this is delicious, and then you feel so full afterwards. But I got to tell you, compared to beignets, you better hope for gumbo.
Chris is in Birmingham. I've offended him deeply. He's a Saints fan. I called them their 2-0 start fool's gold. Chris, how are you?
Yeah, I am just fine. You did not offend me. You did exactly what I said was going to happen. I almost want to kiss you for that. It's beautiful hearing it. Because guess what? I said exactly this. You know what's going to happen? They're going to focus. They're not give us any kind of attention like they did when we were 9-8 last year up till now. And at least you're the only one I think consistent about it. And all these NFL pundits, whether it be Rich Eisen and everyone, have just saying we're the build up bell cow of the NFL, pushing up to us, kissing, like a groupie out of nowhere, kissing up to us. And I'm like,
not me, Chris. I'll always keep it 100 with you, as the kids say.
Thank you. At least you're consistent. And all of a sudden, I'm like, who are you people? Where were you last year? We was in here shooting in the gym. It's perfect. It's perfectly ironic when you think about it, right? So like when Derek Carr did the little Michael Jackson kick, we should do a seance and resurrect them because in a way to perform. What's that song? I want to say. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us.
Chris, phenomenal call. I am being consistent. I did not think the Saints were going to be a playoff team this year. They're off to this great start. We're asking which 2-0 team is fool's gold, and I'm telling you, I think that the Saints can't keep this up. Now, Perloff, you make a great point. The schedule is helping them.
Yeah, they're the Vegas favorites to win the division because of their last place schedule. Actually, they weren't last place last year. Whatever, I don't know.
Second place.
Yeah, whatever happened here, things really worked out well because they got a lot of injured teams on the horizon.
Nate's in Alaska, big Bucks fan, living in Alaska. Nate, that's got to throw a little wrench into your schedule every day. How are you?
I'm doing well. I didn't realize you were going to put me on so fast.
You're up, pal.
Well, actually, first off, this is my first time calling you guys. I know who you guys are, and I catch it every now and then. But I just wanted to say I hate the Saints, obviously.
Yeah, Bucks fan, sure.
I think it's a bunch of hoo-ha, and all that who-dat crap it's not going to keep going. They're going to crash and burn, especially the way that Baker is playing, and we have a healthy Evans and a healthy Godwin. I don't think they win that division at all.
Nate, so what time are the Bucks games on? If it's a 1:00 Eastern start, what time is that for you in Alaska?
9 a.m. and it's miserable, especially if they lose.
Oh, yeah, you got the rest of the day to sort of sit around and stew about it.
Yeah, I don't like to wake up and, hit the sauce that early.
Hey, Nate, where are you in Alaska?
I'm in Anchorage.
What's the bear situation in your backyard? Do you see a lot of them?
No.
Darn it. Yeah, I'm sure in the city.
I see way more moose than I see bear.
Really?
The funny thing is actually that you even say that the first bear I ever saw. So I'm 36 years old. The first bear I ever saw was on like a main street that was actually leaning against a KFC.
Good place to be.
Just chilling by a KFC?
Just waiting for Deion Sanders to walk out?
I thought it was a giant dog, and he was on all fours, like on a KFC window. And I was like, that's a big-ass dog.
Can we clip that? I would love it. That's a smart bear.
Can I actually ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask? Is it Perloff? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Andrew, right?
Yep, Perloff.
All right. So you're an Eagles fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I switch it up because now you're gonna find it weird because I'm a huge Philadelphia Flyers fan my entire life.
Got it.
So I know that you guys are doing the one thing. What do you think? How do you think the Flyers are going to be this year with Mishkov coming and everything like that? Are you excited? Are you a big hockey fan?
Well, unfortunately, Nate, I have so many thoughts on the Flyers, and I was telling Maggie about the second line the other day, but we have to go to a break, so I'm going to have to say that. No, Nate, I don't know hockey that well. I do have a friend.
Well, that's all right. Hey, thank you for having me on, guys. And
Nate, we do have a legendary friend also named Nate. Nate Thompson from Alaska former Flyer, is a good buddy of the show, by the way. So we do have some hockey.
Does he call in? Yeah, he's from Anchorage.
Yeah, he's from Anchorage. I know he's buying a place up there. So, so Nate, we know our hockey a little bit.
All right, that's awesome. Hey, once again, thank you for having me on, guys. And like I said, the Saints aren't going anywhere. The Bucks are taking that division.
Nate, thank you so much. Good call all around.
That's a big-ass dog.
Flyers talk with Perloff. A little premature. But Nate Thompson is the only person in the history of the show to come on and remove his teeth.
Yeah.
Epic
Nate Thompson,
moment.
epic Alaska athlete. Lives to go back up there because he's a huge golf fan, and you can play in the summer in Alaska. You can play golf all night long. You just have to watch out for those bears leaning against the KFC.
It's really amazing. I can't imagine walking down the street and seeing a moose. Like at some point you get used to it. I'm sure you live in Alaska, but that would freak me out.
You got to be careful with your car. Obviously, our friends in Idaho know all about this. Those are real car killer. I mean, you could actually get in a lethal accident if you run into a moose.
Yeah.
Trust me. Well, you don't know about my Elk City, Idaho experience, do you? I talk about it on Boise radio all the time. I spent 2 weeks of a summer in Elk City, Idaho, and they're like, be very careful when you're driving because either the moose or the caribou or some animal will totally destroy your car.
And did you hit one?
No, I didn't. I was going 3 miles an hour. You know how I am, Maggie.
Yeah, Perloff's actually on a bike. 855-212-4227. See you guys on the phones. We're asking which 2-0 team do you think is fool's gold? We'll get back to you in just a moment.
All right, sports fans, listen up. 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer, and bladder leaks can be a side effect. That's why Depend is teaming up with the Prostate Cancer Foundation to encourage screening, because health is a long game, and it's yours to win. Now, here's the cool part. Through November, Depend is contributing up to $300,000 to prostate cancer research by donating 40 cents for every purchase of shields, guards, and Real Fit products. It's void in Mississippi. Learn more at depend.com.
You're in a 4.5-minute break. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I made a discovery at the household the other day. My kids, who are 12 and 14, love 80s music. I think 80s music might be universal to all generations. And I was a kid for this music, and I love it, but I feel like even who doesn't like 80s music, right? That's like a safe middle ground for everybody can agree on.
I love 80s music. I just have one song that I really dislike, and it's one that's on every 80s mix and gets played a lot, and I really despise.
Wait. Can we guess?
Sure.
Bogus, you're good at this stuff.
I am not.
You're bitter and hate everything. What song does Maggie dislike?
I think it was in the 80s. I don't think this was the 90s.
Taylor Swift not in the 80s, so she's out.
80s. What is the 80s song?
I hate it. And I'll give you a hint.
Oh, it's not Take On Me.
No. That's funny. And it's actually in the Mario Brothers movie now, so my kid knows the song.
Yeah, like the kids love 80s music.
So it was made even more popular by a famous TV show.
Is it The Air in the Night?
The song,
the Sopranos song.
Yeah. Journey, Don't Stop Believing. Capital H hate. I can't. I know, Nico, a little part of you just died. I can't stand it. And now I live in New Jersey, so they basically play it every time you go over the bridge.
Just a small town.
Don't.
What? How can you?
I don't like it, and it's at every
how can
bar
you not like that
and
song?
every restaurant
that
on
song,
the East Coast.
That song is amazing.
It's not.
You never liked it, or
I never actually used to listen to it. Now it's just gotten played so much.
Okay.
What do you not like
events,
about it? I don't understand. It's a perfectly likable song. It's a great song.
sounds like every other Journey song. Then.
No, I think it's a little. The other
Dave
Journey songs
Matthews
are
criticism.
even softer.
What's that?
The Journey's like the softest rock band of all time. That song though is kind of cool. No,
I just don't like it. I can't tell you.
All right, Paul. Anybody else have an issue with "Don't Stop Believing" over there? EJ's probably never even.
Why would I have an issue with that?
Yeah. Nico?
I love that song.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Well,
you also don't like Sweet Caroline. Am I remembering?
I don't.
So, how do you not like that song?
It's not as bad as the Don't Stop Believing. It's Don't Stop Believing 1 and then quite a bit of time and then Sweet Caroline.
So you basically don't like 80s music?
No, I do like it.
Or
I love
fun.
it. I
Even Take On Me.
I
which
grew up with
song?
Madonna, Whitney Houston, all of that stuff. I love it.
I do feel like the 80s has a certain sound.
Synthesizer.
Yeah,
I think that's
and
what.
like, I think it's not for everyone. I would say the 90s actually is more. I think everybody can get behind.
90s.
I think so.
I think that's a hot take.
Obviously, I mean, the thing about music is every year it becomes less universal. It gets spread out. So, like, there are not a lot of like common songs that everybody because now there's no radio like there used to be.
Now
Right.
it's just women somewhere between the age of 25 and 35 singing about breakups. That's the songs now.
Yeah.
I feel like 90s, you got boy bands, New Jack Swing.
You got
Yeah, those
Nirvana. You
I
got
just feel
Rage
like-
Against the
yeah, I
Machine.
just
No,
feel like there's something
90s
for
is good.
everybody.
90s is good. But yeah, no, I do like 80s. I just don't like Don't Stop Believing. There's not one song in a whole decade of songs that you don't like. There's not one 80s song you don't like.
I love the traditional 80s songs. I kind of like them all. Come On Eileen, Bring It On, Take On Me, all these songs. A lot of remember we did the one-hit wonder bracket? It was all 80s songs.
It was
they
a
were
lot.
all amazing.
Okay, I remember driving to WrestleMania when I met you guys in we all met in Philadelphia to go to WrestleMania, and I listened to Phil Collins the whole way. And I believe you made fun of me about it, Pearl. And I was like,
love
he's got
Phil Collins.
banger after banger after banger. And you're
Right,
just
that's like 80s music. Like,
exactly.
Well, I
I
think
like
that
it.
was a problem. I think you said he had bangers. I think that's what Perloff was like. I don't know if it's rather as bangers.
Guys, look up the catalog. All right, now I'm going to get
yesterday, yeah, actually, the other day, like you're on this Paul Simon kick, and
Well,
like
that's
talking
not
about
80s,
80s.
though.
Yeah, but you like well, right, but what decade is it? You're like, did you know Paul Simon and Garfunkel were around in the 60s? I'm like, yes.
I didn't say that.
Yes. Well, no, but you were surprised. You're like, yeah, I mean, I like the Diamond. Like,
Yeah,
you could call
I'm going
me
to
out.
Graceland. It's like one of the greatest songs ever.
What year do you think that was? That was pretty old, too.
I don't know what year that came out.
But anyway, like,
no, my
anyway.
brother makes fun of me because I like 80s Grateful Dead. I get it, maybe, but I
No, 80s music. Don't give me 80s Grateful Dead. Like the big pop songs, like Flock of Seagulls and like all this, like.
I like that stuff. I just don't like Journey's Don't Stop Believing.
I can't believe this. Nico on the other side of the glass is like quite young. I could tell, like he likes 80s music.
Were
If
your
we wanna
parents
go to-
born in the 80s, by the way?
Yeah.
My dad was born in 68. My mom was born in 70, so they were in high school in the 80s.
What is like, do you like it? What's your favorite genre?
Favorite genre, I guess, like rock, pop, kind of. Like, I don't know.
From what era? From now?
Yeah, like I like 80s music, but I also like 2010s pop a lot.
Yeah.
You're talking about the Strokes, the...
That was 2000s, right?
Yeah, I guess that was more
like Bruno Mars type music.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Right.
Got it.
You're going to be able to see Bruno Mars because if the reports are true that he's in like $100 million of debt, he'll be performing in Las Vegas from now until the end of time.
I saw one of those Vegas shows. It is awesome.
I'm sure he was great at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
he needs to be awesome.
He was at like 5 Super Bowls, wasn't he?
I remember the one in
He
New
did
York.
3.
Yeah, the one in Jersey was great.
Particularly good.
Yeah.
How do we get on this? Oh, I don't like Don't Stop Believing. Oh, your kids like 80s music. Well, that's exciting.
Well, yeah. When they were real little, the only thing that you can't put on your own music around your kids, right? Because they do not like the heavier sounds. So it was show tunes early on, do a little Cats, and then we tuned it to go like, oh, okay. They'll listen to Madonna because otherwise it's like Rafi or something unlistenable.
I would beg for Rafi.
Well, do they like Britney Spears or like Christina Aguilera? Like, what about that era?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
No. The one Britney song they probably like.
Oops, I Did It Again.
Yeah, Oops, I Did It Again.
That hurts my heart.
They like big pop songs with hooks and
those are big pop songs with hooks. That's why I
but
meant
they
it.
don't need them now because of Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo. Like that's what they're listening to. Although there is a little bit of a boy band resurgence now because I think because of Deadpool, right?
Well, yeah, the opening scene of Deadpool is Deadpool. I don't want to spoil it, but it's very much a boy band tribute.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
And it's like a
There will always be
Fortnite
boy-
thing too. Like it's got a little bit of a pop culture push all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I think there will always be boy bands.
Yeah.
But no, they're listening to like Backstreet Boys again now.
Oh,
yeah,
the actual song.
After the movie, I immediately threw the song that's played into my gaming playlist. I was like, now I want to hear this all the time, and I'm always going to get Deadpool because it's funny.
Let's go to, as riveting as this conversation is, no, it is. Let's go to Andy in Arizona who has an unanswerable question, but we're going to try. Andy, what's your question?
I think you mean Eddie.
Oh, Eddie. Sorry, it says Andy on the screen. Eddie, good morning, sir. Apologies.
Good morning. Just on the Raiders and how you guys feel about them. And, you got Gardner Minshew doing well, Max Crosby, Brock Bowers. And just your guys' insight. And Maggie, don't stop believing.
Eddie, you sandbagger. No, thank you. Thank you, Eddie in Arizona. A question. Are the Raiders good? Pearl, you want to take a stab at this one?
2 words. Beats me. Honestly, this is a hard... I still don't understand what on earth happened to the Ravens. How did the Ravens lose this game to the Raiders? I have no idea. No, I don't. I think, what were they, 7-10 last year? I think they come in right around within one win of that. Either way, 7-10, yeah, 8-9.
But is this something to build on? Because I think for a while we were talking about the Raiders and you should trade Devontae Adams and trade Max Crosby. Like, is there something here to build upon for Antonio Pierce?
No. I mean, Devontae Adams is how old?
31? 30?
Right. And Max Crosby is how old? So
He looked amazing, though. I mean, these guys still look good. Devontae Adams had 9 catches for 115 yards or something like that.
Crosby's 27. Yeah, but I mean, it's quite top heavy. You have to have years of good drafting, and they're still digging out from the Mike Mayock era. The problem there is ownership. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take.
No, but Brock Bowers looks like it's a good pick, and they need a quarterback. That's for sure. You can't just keep rolling with Gardner Minshew, but maybe there is something salvageable. I was not a big believer.
So do you see? Would you answer the question? Is there something for Antonio Pierce to build on?
Yeah.
Here? Do you think he's the guy who's going to turn this thing around? We'll get them back to the playoffs and.
After they lost the first game against the Chargers, I was like, oh, this could be a very long season. But they did show you a little something in Baltimore. That's a tough place to win. They came back from being down 10 points. Like, maybe there is something here. Maybe Pierce has them playing a little bit tougher. Maybe they're a little, more focused team.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they haven't won a playoff game since 2002. So what are we talking about here?
By the way, they play Carolina this weekend, which obviously changed a little bit now with the Andy Dalton news, but I still think that's a W for them. Bogish has headlines. Hello.
And these headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's here, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks and use code M&P to get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Are Clemson and FSU and the ACC now working on mending their relationship? Multiple outlets say the conference and the two schools are talking again about revenue sharing. Nothing apparently imminent, but the conference could pay out more money to the more successful schools in exchange for the Tigers and Noles dropping their lawsuit against the league. This could also change the conference's grant of rights, which currently runs through 2036, and what's basically keeping the two schools in the conference to begin with.
Honestly, if Miami's going to have all this NIL, though, and they're going to keep getting the best quarterback in the transfer portal or something, wouldn't that, I mean, if they could keep that up for a couple of years, wouldn't the SEC want Miami?
I'm sure the SEC does want Miami. I'm sure the SEC wants all of them, although they say they don't. But why wouldn't you want those kind of programs?
I'm just saying even before FSU now.
The goal, the big one is North Carolina, right? Isn't that the prize of the ACC? And I'm not sure why. But
because it's a different state?
Yes, because they want to get in as many states as possible. Also, obviously, that would be a powerhouse in basketball. And then you probably get Duke, too, if you want them. Then you're by far the greatest basketball conference of all time.
These have been good times for Miami when it comes to money, but money has often been a problem, them being a private school.
Yeah.
I guess if I was the SEC, I would say your money is good now. Like, will it be good in 10 years, 5 years? Like this has been a very recent push from the outside to bring money in.
Well, where's Nevin Shapiro? Is he still in jail? Sorry.
Actually, he was doing a podcast recently. I was like, wow, we're talking to this guy? I couldn't believe it. And then I'm like, why are they even talking to this guy about Miami football? Like, anybody can come back.
He has a podcast about Miami Hurricanes football?
He was on a podcast.
I was like, we have jumped the shark.
And then he's talking about the team like he supports them. So I'm like, are you serious, bro?
I mean, he invested a lot.
Yeah, and then he threw the program under the bus.
Well, that was only to save his own
sold
skin.
Everyone out. And he still went to jail for it. Didn't even do anything.
It's where you guys began.
Maybe I would listen to a podcast with him. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You listen to almost any podcast, it sounds like.
I've got some time on my hands. Just in the car. Yeah.
And murders and unsolved mysteries and
stuff like that.
Yeah. It's where you guys began the show. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel said Monday Tua wasn't going on IR pending further info on his latest concussion. Apparently, new info came in yesterday because Tua is now on injured reserve, meaning he'll miss at least 4 games. And the Chiefs have signed Kareem Hunt to their practice squad following Isaiah Pacheco's broken leg. Juan Soto did a lot with one swing last night in Seattle.
The pitch. Swing and a high drive driven deep into left center field. Moving back, Rodriguez, he turns, and it's gone! It's a home run! The 200th career home run for Juan Soto! Check off T-Mobile Park. Soto's homered in all 30 of them, and he does it at the ripe age of 25. It's now 6-1 Yankees as he goes yard to left center.
Justin Shackles, Susan Waldman on Yankees radio. Believe they gave you all the details. Homer number 40 this season, 200 of Soto's career, and he's now gone deep in every single ballpark in the majors. But then he said this.
What a best way to go to free agency with all 30 homers, all 30 ballparks. Checking my list.
So was that Soto confirming he'll test the open market this winter and not just re-sign with the Yankees?
I was like, hey, what did Susan say there, by the way? Did she say he did it?
He did it, yeah.
Did what? The 200 home run?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also a homer in every ballpark.
Oh, okay. It's just a weird line for Susan to pull out. But anyway, yeah, he's definitely going for as much money as humanly possible. He's going to have like the small GDP of a small country.
Liechtenstein?
Yeah, I would pay it for him too, by the way. Right. What is the latest? Like, is there any, do Yankees fans think that they're going to be able to have an advantage with him?
I think what the Yankee fans say and what they're hanging their hat on is it's, even if the Yankees don't come in with the biggest amount, they don't beat every team by every last dollar and penny, that being a Yankee is better than the alternative.
Yeah, and pinning around Judge. But then Steinbrenner keeps throwing these random comments out about there's not infinity dollars and luxury tax and we got to pay other guys. So he keeps I don't know if he's like trying to grease the skids for an exit, like softening the blow now or what, but
do the Dodgers want him or no? I mean,
I'm sure everybody wants him. If the Dodgers have ability to sign another ridiculous contract, then there needs to be an investigation.
Well, they're not paying Ohtani.
But I mean, they're kind of still paying Ohtani.
Just eventually. See, Juan Soto would not take the deal from Washington that had reportedly about a lot of deferred money.
Right. But they're deferring all the Ohtani money, so give that all to Soto now.
But they gave it to Yamamoto.
Yeah.
It gets the Dodgers. If they want him, he's in blue.
I understand.
The Padres can't spend anymore, right? So
It's the Mets.
It'd be nice for the Mets to sign him, yeah.
Yeah, but the Mets have been talking. Like, have the Mets actually gotten anybody since?
No,
Cohen
I
got
know.
there?
This is the problem.
Well, they went after Verlander and Scherzer, and that didn't work out. This is a little different.
Yeah, that makes sense. But that being said, too, if the Dodgers want to outcompete the Mets, they definitely will.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Last night, by the way, the Yankees won this game 11-2 in Seattle, dropping their magic number for a playoff spot to 1. Their AL East lead on the Orioles is 4 because Baltimore took a 10-0 beating at home from the Giants. This is the Yankees' largest lead since early June. The New York Liberty clinched the top seed in the WNBA postseason with last night's 87-71 win in Washington. The Mystics now a game behind the Dream for the last spot because Atlanta topped Chicago 86-70. And finally, the three of us all know Pablo Torre. You guys from SI, he and I went to the same high school. If you listening don't know who he is, worked at ESPN after SI. He's now got a very successful podcast. He is super talented. He's led a very charmed life, but this might be the pinnacle. Pablo was on Celebrity Family Feud on a team with awesome chef David Chang, and Pablo went second in Fast Money. The final round, they needed 146 points from his 5 answers to get the win.
We need 37 points. Name a coin you throw into a fountain to make a wish. You said the penny.
Yes.
Survey said.
Oh my God.
Why?
So the female voice in there was Chrissy Teigen, lamenting the wait for the answer, which was 65 people picked Penny, giving Pablo's team the win. He had 3 number 1 answers out of his 5. One of his 5 was also a 0. It might be one of the greatest Family Feud moments of all time.
It was great. It was thrilling, not just because we know Pablo, but because I've always said that as far as television high points go, the person winning the car on The Price is Right, I thought, has always been the pinnacle. But I might have to rethink that because winning Family Feud in this way is so exciting.
All right, so I would still argue that the double Price is Right winner, when you win both showcase showdowns, like that's the whale. That's the thing that so few people have done.
Yeah, but Bogusch, a new car.
I know, I
nothing
get it.
tops a new car.
How about when you land on 100 on the spinning wheel? That's exciting, too.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what that means, but that's really good.
It just means you go to the showcase showdown.
And you win
and maybe you
cash.
win 10 grand or something.
Yeah. No, you don't automatically get the showcase showdown because you get 100, do you?
Yeah, because you're trying to get closest to $1.
Oh, but I guess somebody could also match you, and you could.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. A new car is like the top of the line TV moment, but now maybe Family Feud is that moment. And is there anyone who's more suited for their job than Steve Harvey hosting Family Feud? He's so much better than any of the other guys. Like, no disrespect to Richard Dawson and.
Wow, Richard Dawson, like.
I wasn't around for that. I thought it's weird he kisses everybody on the lips. That is odd.
The guy that we had growing up was Ray Combs.
I don't remember.
He took over for Richard Dawson.
Yeah.
Richard Dawson was around a long time.
That's the guy I remember.
Richard Dawson was actually a good actor. Wasn't he he's a old school. Wasn't he in that movie in the World War II? Anyway,
that now
Steve Harvey. He was a prisoner.
Give me a minute.
The Great Escape, I think he was in, with Steve McQueen. Anyway, Steve Harvey's got one amazing move. When someone says something really stupid and he just stops and stares at him for like 10 seconds, it works every time. It hasn't gotten old in 30 years.
That's what I'm saying. I think that he's the best at it. And it's funny because Nico would have never known who Richard Dawson is because Nico was born in 2002. He used to kiss all the women, this is in the 70s, on the lips. Grandmas, girls in their 20s, hopefully. Moms, right in front of the dads.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is like the husband or dad's reaction when that happens?
I don't know. I think everyone's drunk. It doesn't matter.
You know what you're signing up for.
So, by the way,
I was thinking he had to have like whole sort. Who knows what Richard Dawson had going on?
So
right
he did
on the
his
lips.
last show in '95, and apparently the ratings have never been the same since Dawson left, according to this.
Well, TV's also never been the same.
Yeah,
since
yeah.
then,
But no, I mean, Dawson was a goat of game show hosting. The kissing on the lips thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Age well.
Nobody. I don't think people. He was popular.
Oh, I
mean,
know.
he's like him,
People
Pat
wanted to get
Sajak,
kissed.
Trebek. Like those are the legends of the game.
It's not just about him
Oh,
kissing
and
him. It's
Bob
like,
Barker. I mean,
Well,
Bob
yeah.
Barker.
Yeah, he's the GOAT to me.
well, that was the new Carr. Was Rodney, right? Was the
Was that his name? I never knew exactly what his name was.
I think it was
Rodney,
Rodney.
something like that.
Something like that.
I think Richard Dawson was pretty close to Bob Barker.
Well, Trebek is.
Yeah.
I still think those two guys were probably pretty close.
Do I do Mount Rushmore of game show hosts?
I'm just saying popular. Now, who obviously Trebek is the
Trebek
GOAT.
and Sajak are both fantastic.
Yeah, but I think Richard Dawson and Bob Barker is almost as
What
iconic.
about Chuck Woolery?
Chuck Woolery, super iconic. Dating Game, and also he had another big show.
Love Connection, I thought. Right?
And Scrabble.
Who's the one who did no
Scrabble?
whammies? Who is that?
I don't know. I remember Press Your Luck, but I don't know who hosted it. Google. Thinking.
Stand by.
Wait, what are we doing here? How did we get to this? Oh, Pablo Torre.
Yeah.
By the way, what's the other thing that you throw into a fountain?
David Chang said a quarter.
Yeah.
That's what I would have said.
Fancy David Chang.
I thought you famously threw a penny into a fountain, like pennies in the fountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Anyway. A quarter? I'm not wasting a quarter.
Yeah. I wish ain't coming true. Well, maybe. All right. Top 5 game show hosts. We'll do that back of the envelope next. Also, more football, including we check in with the Cowboys. Should they still be favored? Should Philly still be favored over Dallas in the division, considering what we saw on Monday night? Get to that next.
Maggie's in the office, can't take it no more. Just a small town girl, she slams the door. The lights go down and the music starts to play, but Maggie's had enough, she's screaming no way. She's sick of the journey and tired of the song. The midnight train, it's been rolling too long. But while she's out here hating on the tune, Peter Bellatti's the one who's gone too soon. Don't stop believing, Pete's not showing up. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, that's not enough. Streetlight people work, but Peter don't care. He's missing again, and there's no one there. Maggie's in the break room, hearing that refrain. Strangers waiting, but Pete's missed his train. She's working hard to get her fill, but Pete's just living life at a standstill. She's searching in the night for Bellatti's excuse, but all she finds is another lane roof. The midnight train ain't bringing him in. He's just like that song, worn way too thin. Don't stop believing, but Pete's still MIA. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, that's not enough. Streetlight people work, but Peter don't care. He's missing again, and there's no one there. Some will win, some will lose, we've heard it all before. But Peter's never showing up, he's out the door. The movie never ends, and neither does the wait. Maggie's stuck with Journey, but Pete's absentee fate. Don't stop believing, Pete's not showing up. Hold on to that feeling, but Pete won't show up. Streetlight people, they're out there grinding, but Peter Bellatti's still no sign of him. So while Maggie can't stand that song on repeat, the real problem's Pete, who just can't take a seat. Don't stop believing, or maybe just do, cause Peter Bellotti, he's ghosting the crew.
2 minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The 80s music list, but he definitely belongs. Uptown Girl, My Life. Talked about 80s music. I don't like the song Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. But enough about me. Let's get to you. We asked a question earlier. We got into this discussion. We don't generally talk about the news a lot on this show, but we did get into the discussion about Diddy, and the fact that he's in jail right now because of all these indictments. And then we asked to bring it to sports. Have you ever stopped rooting for someone or stopped listening to their music or wouldn't watch their movies because of things that happened in their personal life? Or are you able to kind of separate, as they say, the art from the artist? Stuart is in North Carolina. Has a story about this. Good morning, Stuart.
Good morning, guys, and great show as always. I'm sure I'm in the very, very small minority, but when the Browns signed Deshaun Watson, I was out.
Yeah.
And just to tell you, I grew up south of Cleveland. I was sitting in the end zone over 40 years ago in 40 below weather when Brian Sipes threw maybe the most famous interception in Browns history to Mike Davis of the Raiders. Sorry, Andrew, that was the year the Raiders beat the Eagles and Dick Vermeil in the Super Bowl. And the Browns probably felt like that was theirs. And I was there for that one. But Deshaun just felt different. And I understand the legal system, so I get all of the no indictment and that. But he's probably pretty fortunate he's not spending the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah. No.
And when the Browns signed Kareem Hunt, he had issues. I'm like, yeah, and I kind of took the mindset of what you're talking about. But again, Deshaun just felt different. And they were good as well. They didn't need Deshaun.
Well, I think the other part too, Stuart, and thank you for the call and explaining that whole thing. The other part about the Deshaun thing that felt particularly kind of, I don't know, just distasteful was when they signed him to the biggest contract at that time ever in the NFL in terms of guaranteed money. And then they structured it to make sure that he didn't get that he didn't lose a big chunk of it because they knew a suspension was coming. It's like, that was felt kind of gross.
Yes, you're putting this on the Browns, but the Browns, you realize, had to spend that money to outbid a bunch of other teams.
I know.
Not just the Browns.
Josh is in Philly as another example of when it's tough to root for an athlete because of things in their personal life. We were talking about this with Diddy, with Puff Daddy, who is facing a world of legal issues now, sex trafficking, other things. Josh, good morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Gray. Good morning, Mr. Perloff.
Good morning.
It doesn't bother me too much with the two people I'm going to name because I think they both have changed their lives around. But I was wondering what you think of Michael Vick, and the best example to me is Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Josh, it's a great question. Let's take Vic for a second. The one thing about Michael Vick, where I'll give him a lot of credit, right? If you're a dog lover, or even if you're not, that what he did was just awful. He has really lived his apology, though. He became a spokesperson for the ASPCA. He has, dedicated a good part of his life, at least from what we can tell on the outside, to making sure that he got educated and other people get educated about dogfighting.
That's true, but I got to tell you, Michael Vick might be the fastest turnaround from a scandal I've ever seen in my life. He was the most hated man in America, and then he throws a long bomb to Deshaun Jackson on Monday Night Football, and everyone's back on board immediately. I always thought that was a little weird, but you're right. I think it's because he cooperated with SPCA and probably did more good, and also he's very, very popular, very likable athlete to start with.
Mike Tyson coming back from the rape conviction, serving jail time, is one of the most surprising, stunning comebacks that we've ever seen.
Well, actually, stunning, I'm not sure because everybody else seems to come back as well.
Coming up, it's Wednesday. Around here, we do the Great Debate. This one's going to have you laughing. We're sure about that. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Okay. This is sponsored by Angie. Okay. This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute, sponsored by Angie.
Some will win, some will lose, we've heard it all before. But Peter's never showing up, he's out the door. The movie never ends, and neither does the wait. Maggie's stuck with Journey, but Pete's absentee fate. Don't stop believing, Pete's not showing up. Hold on to that feeling, but Pete won't show up. Streetlight people, they're out there grinding, but Peter Polani, still no sign of him. So while Maggie can't stand that song on repeat, the real problem's Pete, who just can't take a seat. Don't stop believing, or maybe just do, cause Peter Polani, he's ghosting the crew. office can't take it no more. Just a small town girl, she slams the door. The lights go down and the music starts to play, but Maggie's had enough, she's screaming no way. She's sick of the journey and tired of the song. The midnight train, it's been rolling too long. But while she's out here hating on the tune, Peter Bellatti's the one who's gone too soon. Don't stop believing, Pete's not showing up. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, that's not enough. Streetlight people work, but Peter don't care. He's missing again, and there's no one there. Maggie's in the break room, hearing that refrain. Strangers waiting, but Pete's missed his train. She's working hard to get a fill.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Been looking forward to this great debate for quite a while. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. If you're new around here, we do something called the Great Debate on Wednesdays. And this is one we've kind of had a little bit in the back pocket, Perloff, and sometimes we loosely base this stuff on the news. And I think the news sort of this week was just the glow up for the Kelceys, especially Jason. It was kind of like the Jason Kelce show on Monday night with Philadelphia and the whole thing. So with that in mind, let's get to it.
The Great Debate Series.
Okay, the great debate today. Who is the funniest athlete of all time?
Ooh.
The funniest athlete of all time.
We have to also state, obviously, humor is subjective. What one person finds funny, another person might not find funny. But I think
that have to be stated.
Yeah, I just feel like people are going to argue like, no, when people try and prove funny, I always think they sound kind of weird. No, scientifically, this man is more laugh generating than the other. Often we'll debate like who's the greatest left-handed power hitter. Like you can bring a lot of metrics to that. Funny is a little different. But if I'll get started, I mean, it's going to be nice to win the poll on this one because I'm going to take the easiest choice and probably the most famous personality in sports right now. Charles Barkley is easily the funniest man in sports. Let's hear a little from Sir Charles.
They're going to put Alex Lynn on Joker, I think, more, because I think his size, I would put Alex Lynn on Joker a little bit more.
Alex Lynn doesn't play for the
Myers Leonard. Myers Leonard, my bad. Hey, listen, all you white folks look alike to me. Get y'all Myers Leonard.
Just a man who gets on TV and says, hey, what'd you think of that first half? Well, I wasn't really watching. I was actually watching Gossip Girl on my iPhone.
I think he watches like Chicago, all those Chicago shows.
Is that what he's doing?
Also, especially on the Tuesdays, when they do the Tuesday Inside the NBAs.
Charles Barkley, not only is he funny, he's proven you can be excruciatingly honest and people will respond. And I obviously owe Charles one for my famous, because of the time I stole his hat when I was a teenager from a golf driving range in Philadelphia. Yeah. Apologized many times, reached into his Mercedes convertible, which is crazy. I've never stolen anything in my life, but he was my favorite player, and he's even better as a personality, Charles Barkley.
It's a great one. We're asking who is the funniest athlete of all time. Now, my selection is not so much based on his actual playing days, but he used that to get a lot of humor throughout his career. The funniest athlete of all time is Bob Uecker.
Just a reminder, fans, about Die Hard Night coming up here at the stadium. Free admission to anyone who was actually alive the last time the Indians won a pennant. Rookie sensation Ricky Vaughn on the pitch now. You can close the book on Kellner. Thank God. Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
Bob Uecker in Major League obviously stole the show, which is hard to do from Charlie Sheen and Tom Berenger and Willie Mays. I was going to say Wesley Snipes.
Willie Mays Hayes.
From Willie Mays Hayes, of course, that real character.
Technically was Willie Mays.
From Omar Epps, and who took over
We're not
as Willie
talking
Mays
about
Hayes.
the sequel. So obviously that's a movie, but I went back and listened to Bob Uecker's Hall of Fame induction speech. When I tell you, guys were literally crying tears from laughter in his speech when he said things like, I had a great shoe contract and glove contract with a company who paid me a lot of money never to be seen using their stuff. You know, he had the great line of, a manager once broke it to him gently that he was cut from the team. He came up to me and said, there's no visitors allowed in the clubhouse. I mean, just zinger after zinger after zinger. I knew my career was over in 1965. My baseball card came out with no picture. Like, he just had so many of these. Bob Uecker's the funniest athlete of all time. EJ, go ahead.
I'm actually laughing just from those
Watch the Hall of Fame induction. It's brilliant.
Okay, so those are two excellent choices. And when Perloff took Barkley, I knew this was going to be a tall task, but I needed someone who can go band for band with him in terms of the absurdity of his broadcasting career. Maybe not quite funny when he was playing, but when he became a broadcaster and basically became a spokesperson for the Dallas Cowboys, Michael Irvin became a different animal.
Tonight, right here in Dallas, we see the dawn of a new day, the beginning of a new age, and a time where the Cowboys will rightfully regain and take their proper spot among kings. Do you hear me? Regain and take their proper spot among the kings. I'm just letting you know, baby.
That wasn't funny at the beginning and then weirdly got funnier.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Michael, it may be chemically enhanced. I'm not going to deny that when it comes to some of these Michael Irvin
Might
bits.
be.
But look, when you become an internet meme, I think you definitely deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore when it comes to funny athletes. And the Michael Irvin, whether it's this video, whether it's the I'm not nervous, I'm just saying, I mean, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few people like Michael Irvin. When I was talking to Perloff earlier in the show or before the show, he was like, well, is it because more of his intensity? I'm like, yes, and that's what's funny, because it's like he has no self-awareness at how crazy he sounds and looks when he goes on these speeches. Like he did one just a couple years ago for my beloved Miami Hurricanes ahead of a game against Florida, and listen to this.
We don't care. We'll come to your damn house, put our foot on your throat, and snatch out your damn heart. And that's what we're about to do tomorrow. We are going to snatch out their heart. Snatch it out.
I mean, there's no self-awareness to how insane he sounds when he does these clips. I mean, Michael Irvin, he's become kind of a national treasure. I know he has a lot of off-field stuff that isn't the greatest, but I think in terms of just the absurdity,
yeah,
I think Michael Irvin deserves to be on this list, and he's my pick.
So the great debate today is who's the funniest athlete of all time. Nico, go ahead.
So I went with a guy whose play on the field created a lot of controversy in terms of whether or not he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think anyone can debate that Eli Manning is not hilarious.
Are you Eli Manning?
Nope. I'm your worst nightmare.
Top 3 best SNL skit ever, right?
Yeah.
Eli Manning, Little Brother Association, beating up Big Brothers.
Yeah, taking out all turning the tables on the older brothers was an all-time sketch.
But Nico, I mean, it's interesting. You clearly chose Eli over Peyton, and I kind of agree. I think Eli is so sneaky, right? He's under the radar, quiet, humble. Peyton's in your face. I would vote Eli in that one.
Well, let's get to Andrew Bogish. The funniest athlete of all time is who?
Wow, shocking. Perloff's wrong. And Nico's too young to know the other original funny Manning brother. Now, I will tip my cap to Maggie, who probably has the best choice here. But Peyton Manning has produced the single funniest thing any athlete has ever done on stage or screen.
All right, now, I'll kill a snitch. I'm not saying I have. I'm not saying I haven't. You know what I mean. Whatever. Kids on the
There's no Little Brothers Association if there's not Peyton doing a United Way PSA, pelting kids with footballs, tattooing a kid, using a kid to pick up a hot blonde, and saying, I might kill a snitch after trying to steal a car with kids. This is perfection, and he was good in it. Eli's funny because he's doofy Eli. Peyton actually could be in a sitcom. Peyton's the funniest athlete ever.
Shout out to Cooper, too, is everyone calls the funny one. Peyton and Eli are like, Cooper's the funny one. We're just here for the ride.
They're just being nice.
Yeah.
No, Cooper is a wild trip. Cooper is actually, in real life, insane.
The best part of that Peyton Manning United Way is the tagline. They said, raise your children so Peyton Manning won't.
Yeah.
It's a great line. All right, so there you go. The funniest athletes of all time.
Can we do some honorable mentions? I think there are some obviously big names we left off here. Shaq, to have Charles and not Shaq feels a little wrong.
You know, listen, Shaq is hilarious. Like,
yeah,
Shaq
he's kind of in
fool.
that. I feel like I get Shaq because I have Charles Barkley, too. No? Is that...
No,
what are you talking about?
It's not the same person. If
mean,
Nico's taking Eli and Bogus is taking Peyton Manning, then no, you can't have two guys who are not related.
Kind of have
They're
both,
not Laurel and Hardy. It's not like
they're as close as we have in today's modern society. I had a weird one. Zlatan, I see, is on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, that dude should be a stand-up comedian. When he would come on the Dan Patrick Show, Dan would cry laugh for 10 straight minutes. He is insanely funny and so bizarre.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic is very funny, obviously soccer player, but I think he gets a little help by the accent.
Yeah, well,
Agreed.
but that's an act, right? He probably has a perfect accent. He's doing a Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah.
But I also thought
Zlatan Z, Zlatan take.
Yeah, kind of.
But I also thought he was a jerk too. Like,
the worst.
Right? He was taking shrapnel on a Champions League broadcast yesterday because he's like a consultant for AC Milan, and he was at the game, and the announcers were like, "Oh, he's back from. He was on some kind of course," and the guy was like, "It wasn't about self-awareness."
Oh, that's
like,
funny.
yeah,
that's
Zing.
funny.
yeah.
He's got a great autobiography too.
Really?
Zlatan. Yeah, a great one if you haven't read it yet.
He came on the Dan Patrick Show and he said, "I want to come to America and spread my seed so there are mini Zlatans everywhere."
Was he Pat Boyle?
He's married too, but he was just going on and on.
He's married. Is
His
the funny part of that.
egomania. It's a complete bit, right? He refers to himself as Zlatan.
Is it a bit or is it become a bit because it started in a real place?
We'll never know. Question is, who's the funniest athlete of all time? That's our great debate. Dominic already weighing in from San Francisco. Dominic, who's the funniest athlete of all time?
I'll have to agree with somebody on your show. It's definitely Peyton Manning.
Thank you.
That'd be Andrew Bogish.
He had the funniest sitcom of all time is Modern Family, and they could have picked anybody they want, and they picked Peyton Manning.
I don't remember the Peyton Manning on Modern Family.
Well, they probably had about 10 other athletes over the years, to be fair.
He taught the little kid how to throw a ball.
Okay. So, yeah, Dominic, I think Peyton Manning is known to be the funnier Manning, without a doubt. In the chat, people are agreeing. Delta saying Peyton is funnier than Eli. Travis saying Peyton better quarterback and funnier. P. Maddie says they should be grouped together. And Diana says Peyton is more charismatic. I think all true. Eli is funny, but it's the aw shucks, you never saw him coming, Eli.
I think Eli has been funnier on the Manning cast, though.
His role is a little funnier, because
like
Peyton's a more serious football guy.
Cursing randomly, like he's seen. Like I think we think of him as like kind of maybe doofy, but he almost seems now more stoned. Like he just doesn't care what's going on the show. He'll just say or do whatever, and I kind of like that kind of funny, like humor, like the randomness.
The only problem with the Manning cast is they've got to get in the same room because they talk over each other too much, and they still don't know about going to commercial. And these are kinks that should have gotten worked out after season 1. It's not the pandemic anymore, thankfully.
Could I have sold you guys John Kruk? Are there any John Kruk fans, or is that just a Philly thing?
No, Kruk's funny.
Yeah, like he's like a euchre type. I like the former baseball players. There's like a certain former baseball player kind of humor. I don't know why do you describe that?
I think it's a lot of time spent, a lot of downtime. Like baseball players are masters at killing time.
Like
find
Keith Hernandez the same way.
Keith Hernandez, I think he's hysterical. I'm not a Mets fan, but he cracks me up. Like they're just so bored. They're trying to say anything to make each other laugh at the 8th inning.
But also Keith, and I was just thinking about John Madden. Like you laugh at John Madden, but is it almost because he's accidentally funny, or is he actually funny?
Well, those guys have the credentials. So John Madden was a Hall of Fame coach.
Right.
Keith Hernandez should be a Hall of Fame player.
But Hernandez is almost like goofy and
Yeah.
then makes you laugh. I don't know that he's not like a stand-up. Like some guys have shtick. Like Keith's just an airhead, and then you laugh at him. And
I think Madden was actually had lines.
Yeah.
Like had good lines like that. You know, to be honest, and I want the audience to weigh in here. We're asking what's the funniest athlete of all time. There is literally a guy out there who's a former athlete who's doing stand-up, and it's Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
He is going to comedy clubs and doing stand-up. That takes a lot of guts.
Is it good, though? I actually have no idea. I've never seen it. But by the way, John Madden had lines. Yeah, right. He was like, then boom, then turducken. And like, he had no lines. He was saying nonsense for half the telecast.
Birdie's in Florida. Birdie, who's the funniest athlete of all time?
Well, it's old school. You got to go back and watch some old Johnny Carsons. But the guy back in the day who was like the Euchre of football, like the Bob Euchre of football, by the way, Bob, of course, is a great one, is Art Donovan. He was a Colts player.
That's a
back
good
in
one.
The 60s and 50s. Yeah, and Donovan, he was just a funny dude, and he would always be out and about doing shows and stuff. And he told this really funny story about how they were hacking around in the hotels in the next room, like filled a shower to the top somehow, sealed it up and filled it with water, and it fell through the ceiling, stuff like that. So he was great.
That's awesome. Birdie, thank you for that one. I remember a couple Art Donovan appearances from Letterman. I don't remember Carson, though.
Yeah,
he made a couple Letterman appearances.
Right, I do. Art Donovan, I remember, everyone talked about him like that. Was he in the Miller Lite commercials? I feel like if you're talking about 70s athletes, like that's a definition of who was funny. They were all, because Terry Bradshaw was doing funny things, and Bob Euchre was sort of the spokesman for Miller Lite. Was he the guy?
He did.
And Madden, I think, was in that. So like all these guys, I just pulled up one. There's a Bob Euchre print commercial for Miller Lite. Great ball players drink light because it's less filling. I know, I asked one.
Well, also Bob Euchre, who I picked as funniest athlete of all time, also had a sitcom. I know Alex Karras had a sitcom too, but Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere, right? Alex Karras was, what was that?
Webster.
Right. Yeah. Mike Ditka was a coach on a kid show or a sitcom too. He was a gym teacher. Remember that?
I remember him being, I think he was in Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah. The Miller Lite. John Madden was great on Miller. He was really funny too, but coaches, I guess, don't count.
855-212-4227. That's the great debate today. Who is the funniest athlete of all time? Who did we miss? Let us know. We've also got plenty of actual football for you, including something that came across our desk from the college ranks. Something about this just doesn't smell right. We'll get to it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Two words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
That's more than 2 words.
You didn't say 2 words. You said quick to the point.
You just said I got 2 words. Steve Nash and Chris Paul must see.
See, that's why I messed up, because I was trying to think of 2 words. I could have said that. Okay.
2 words.
Nash and Paul.
That's 3 words.
That's 3 words.
By the way, we're debating the funniest athlete on the Maggie and Perloff show today. Welcome back. You got to give Ernie credit as a straight man. To be funny, you need the straight man.
Yep.
Well, Maggie, you did Bob Uecker. Remember in the movie Major League, that guy sitting next to him who never
Monty?
got best color guy in the business?
Yeah,
Didn't
goes,
say a word, right?
Yeah, they're about to win the pennant, and it's all exciting. And he goes, Monty, got anything to add? And he goes, nope. And they don't call him the best color man in the business for nothing.
yeah. So you need a straight man. And yeah, that's why I'm trying to claim Shaq, Charles, Kenny, Ernie. I get them all in my
No.
great debate. Yeah.
Thank you. Who is the funniest athlete of all time? As Perloff said, we'll quickly go around the horn. Perloff said Charles Barkley. I said Uecker. Nico went with Eli Manning. EJ went with Michael Irvin, and Bogish went with Peyton Manning. So that's kind of who's out there. Who did Cap say? We got to get Cap's response. I'm sure is in the chat, holding things down at youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. He said Alex Rodriguez equals unintentional comedy. I guess. Yeah, we want people who aren't trying so hard. Dana's in California. Dana, good morning.
Hi, guys. Love your program, as always. Maggie, you got to get to California so you can go to a De La Salle game with me.
I've been lucky enough to cover a De La Salle game when they came to New Jersey many years ago. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, we'd love to have you here. Funniest athletes of all time. I don't think we can bypass. I'm not sure if it really constitutes athletes, but, man, the 80s WWF, the one-man gang, the Persian, the Iron Sheik, ravishing Rick Rude. Man, they made me laugh when I was a kid, and they were always so over the top. I think that they belong on the list.
Dana, I don't know if you're big on social media, but the Iron Sheik, on Twitter is a must follow. What's that?
He passed, right?
Oh, did he pass away?
Well,
are you kidding?
Can I say the greatest tweet I've ever gotten in my life?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
The day I left the Dan Patrick show, I got the Iron Sheik, respect the McLovin.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I honestly think he saw McLovin was trending and he thought it was the other McLovin.
That's okay.
Yeah. But and I was so proud because, I'm a child of 80s wrestling and the Iron Sheik was a big deal. But I don't know if, listen, I don't know if it's patriotic to say he was funny. The man was an enemy of the state.
Yeah, right. He just has, I'm so sorry I had forgotten, I guess, that he had passed away, but he had always had this tweet that was pinned to the top of his profile that said, take a minute out of your day to be nice to someone, you dumb son of a...
But by the way, not to disagree with Dana, it's a great call, but Rick Rude was not funny. Ravishing Rick Rude, was he funny? I can't remember. I feel he's so right, by the way. The 80s wrestlers, I don't think you get away with some of the stuff they were saying.
No, you don't get away with some of the stuff from the 90s or early 2000s.
Even now is borderline, to be honest.
Anthony's in San Diego. Anthony, who's the funniest athlete of all time?
Hey, guys. Got to give a shout-out to Ryan Fitzpatrick. With the chest hair interview at the end, I opportunity to water all over.
Anthony, we're having a little bit of a tough time hearing you, but we did get Ryan Fitzpatrick, and when he was shirtless at the Bills game, Bills playoff game, when it was like 2 degrees out, he certainly got a lot of fans.
Yeah, no, Fitzpatrick is generally really funny on Amazon. But the funny thing is he'll get a little serious once in a while. He has to go full Barkley, and I don't think he wants to go there.
Yeah, I don't think of him as the funniest of all time.
No. He's definitely one of the funny, and he's got a great personality. He went on this huge rant against Brian Callahan, the Titans coach, for chewing out Will Levis yesterday. That was like the opposite of funny.
Yeah,
so
actually,
he'll get there.
The funniest part of Ryan Fitzpatrick's career is the guaranteed money that the Bills gave him once upon a time. That was hilarious.
Wait, he's like the third best Bills quarterback of all time.
That's also funny. Let's go to Kevin, is our pal in San Antonio. Kevin, who is the funniest athlete of all time?
The funniest, I'm old school, and good morning to everybody. I say Muhammad Ali with Howard Cosell.
Yep. I mean, those were classic interviews, Kevin. Fantastic. And Ali was the king of the zingers, the one-liners. And it's such a shame that we got robbed of that, because he could have been like a Barkley type, right? Who's weighing in on everything, not just about their sport.
Yeah.
And who was so revered, much more revered than Barkley, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, also obviously very serious parts to Muhammad Ali's career as well. Yeah, he very much, I think Barkley, in a way, takes part of his act. I actually know that stuff more from movies and stuff, how he was with Howard Cosell, but that's pretty incredible. You don't have that anymore.
Lee is in Indiana. Lee, who's the funniest athlete of all time?
I had a thought about Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds is hilarious. He's in so many funny movies, and he was a great college football player.
I realize he never made it to the pros, but who's had a better career in comedy movies and that kind of thing than Burt Reynolds?
Lee, it's a great pick. Thanks for calling in and making it. Burt Reynolds is a fantastic choice.
Can I hit you with a random Bills trivia, by the way?
Oh, gosh, sure.
I say that Ryan Fitzpatrick was the third best Bills quarterback of all time. Of course, that's not true. But of single seasons, the number one of all time in yardage was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Jim Kelly is also amongst the top.
Who was the third?
Fitzpatrick has the fourth best single season of a Bills quarterback. Who is the third quarterback to...
Can you give me an era or no? Is it really old?
It's no, it's not really old. It's a bit of a one-off.
Is it Flutie?
Nope. He's on that list. But you never really think about this guy's Bills career. He came with some expectations. Tall man.
Oh, it's our guy.
Wine.
Yeah, from the Patriots. It's
Drew Bledsoe.
It's Drew Bledsoe. Yes, Drew Bledsoe was
He threw for 4,400 yards one season in Buffalo, but they never really did much, right?
No, I don't think he made the playoffs.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe. It's always weird when you get your rivals cast off. It's like, this is like when the Bills hired Rex Ryan. It's like, who thinks this is going to go well?
Yeah, because obviously Brady had taken over.
Brady held most of the passing records in Buffalo for a lot of his career. That's sad.
That's me. Now Josh Allen is rewriting the record book in real time.
Yeah. We got a good one from the chat here. We're asking who is the funniest athlete of all time. We're getting some Terry Bradshaw.
Very funny.
Hilarious.
But then again, that got to a point that Bogus had earlier. Are you laughing with him or at him? I think that's a key distinction here.
I think Terry is in on the joke. I don't think he thinks he's some serious figure. And we're all just pointing and laughing at him. I don't see it that way.
No, that's true. But is he unintentionally funny sometimes?
Well, he kind of plays up this sort of, farm guy, whatever, like
country bumpkin.
Country guy, yes, exactly.
I had a nominee. EJ, why didn't you go with your guy, Chad Ochocinco?
So one of the reasons why I did him is because I always pick him.
Yeah.
It's
like Bilotti with
Bruce Bochy.
Yeah,
who's also hilarious.
I didn't want to become a Bilotti Bruce Bochy guy, so I was really considering Chad, but I was like, you know what? Let me go to an older receiver. I actually wanted to go Adrian Broner, but it's like he's hilarious, but it's so non-PC to find a clip from him that I could play on this show would have been impossible. So I didn't go that route, but Adrian Broner is also, to me, just a ridiculous person.
But if you're going to go boxer, you got to go Ali. Daryl is in California as one we have not mentioned yet. Daryl, the funniest athlete of all time is who?
Well, the guy that I think is one of the funny, if not the most to some people, is Gronk from the tight end that used to play for the Patriots.
Gronk?
And I think you guys made a point earlier about, you don't know if you're laughing about what he's saying or you laughing at him. But especially in the USSA commercials that he does, where he goes, I'm special. And I'm like, yeah, you sure are. But anyway, that's my suggestion.
Daryl, it's a great one. Gronkowski is definitely funny. People say, oh, he's playing a character. I'm like, I don't know.
Again.
If he is, it's very convincing.
I have to be honest, and I love USAA if they ever want to sponsor us, but why they chose Gronk as their spokesperson and he's not even eligible for USAA is one of the great advertising mysteries of all time. It seems to work.
I think it does work.
And they keep tripling down. Now they have a Sam Elliott and Gronk in the middle of a football game. He's playing pickleball. He's like, no, you're complimenting my serve or talking about my insurance policy. What is going on with Gronk and USAA?
I think it's the best move they ever made.
Probably. You know what? You're probably right. It's just funny. They had Ron Rivera and they had, I think, Peanut Tillman, who was guys who have connections to the military, but Gronk, not so much.
Chuck's in the chat, Yogi Berra, an OG, all-time funny.
Perloff
got to work with him many years ago.
Yes. I tell all the time I have two funny Yogi lines. Do you remember?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I get to say them again? Good. Bogus might not have heard them 5 times. I said, we were doing an intro to Bad News Bears Take Japan, and I said, have you ever been to Asia? And he goes, no, I've been to Japan, though. And the other one was a sort of a Jewish thing. He came in on a Wednesday morning to the Yogi Berra Museum to do our little production, and he said, I went to a bar mitzvah last night, and anyone who's Jewish knows bar mitzvahs are on the weekend, and he described it for about 45 minutes, and I realized it was a Seder he was talking about.
That's hilarious.
I think about him all the time, though. I thought about him this weekend. I think about him all the time. There was one line, I was really annoyed. I was at Wegmans, and it was too crowded. I'm like, no one's going to come here anymore. It's too crowded.
Yeah. It's a great
the
Yogi
greatest Yogi line of all time. And it gets late early here. Was he in on the joke? I still don't even know. I don't think he was. I think his brain just worked in that weird sideways way.
Yeah, I don't know. I never got a chance to meet Yogi, so I'm not sure. But his granddaughter has obviously come on with us, Lindsay, right? And I don't know if he was in on the joke, but man.
But I mean, like, if you come to a fork in the road, take it.
All-time lines.
Brilliant.
Bogus is here with headlines. We'll get back to your calls in a moment and keep them coming, the funniest athletes of all time. Bogus, what do you have?
Pearl, Maggie, there's no need to
stop believing.
Works not done yet, but the Mets now have a two-game cushion on the Braves for the last NL wildcard spot. They hammered the Nationals last night 10-1 with Pete Alonso going deep and driving in 5. And then Spencer Steer did them a huge favor in Cincinnati.
1-2. Fly ball to deep left field. Laureano going to go back. This is trouble. Back to the wall. Gone. Into the first row by Spencer Steer. And the Reds have the lead for the first time tonight as it's now 6-5 Cincinnati.
That's on Braves radio. Atlanta blowing a 5-1 lead, losing to the Reds 6-5. Arizona failing Colorado 8-2. They've lost 4 of 5. The Diamondbacks now tied with those Mets for the last 2 wild card spots. The Phillies, meanwhile, kept the Brewers from clinching the NL Central with a 5-1 win in Milwaukee. Phillies' magic number for the East is down to 4 games.
Do you realize what's happening? It feels like the Mets and Phillies could be possibly on a collision course to me in the playoffs. Do we go to games? How do we approach this?
I don't know what we do as a show for that. It's one thing that they play each other so many times a year, but that we kind of get past that.
Right.
We're kind of split on the show about Mets Phillies. I don't know what we do in the playoffs.
I think we have to go to the games, have bets going. I don't know. Possible tattoos.
The guy whose team is the number 1 seed wants to do the bets. And
Yeah.
No.
put us in line
It's
with,
baseball. Do you know what the number 1 seed is worth? It's a subway fare. That means nothing, and you know it.
Okay.
I mean, the Phillies, look at the Diamondbacks won the NL last year, and the Phillies did the year before. They both had like 88 wins. The Mets are fine. I'm not doing any
Said
bet.
no one ever in history.
But you realize the wild cards are way more dangerous than the division winners.
Well,
I'm not even listening to this.
Yeah.
I'd almost prefer the Mets not to make the playoffs so we don't have to deal with playing your Phillies in any round.
Oh, really?
You're going to be insufferable.
I saw this big story about how the Phillies desperately want to avoid the Diamondbacks and want the Mets. I'm not really quite sure because they lost to them last year. I do not want to see the Mets. Losing to the Mets would be so painful because you guys are playing with house money.
I know. You might have to just do the show from home for a while. We're going to be insufferable because it's like 4 against 1. Or Nico, you're a Yankee fan?
Oh, no, I'm a Met fan.
Yep, 4 against 1.
He dressed like a shortstop.
Oh, yeah,
yesterday.
you were in the Keith Hernandez jersey yesterday. What am I talking about? Okay, so Chuck, you played Don't Stop Believin' by Journey because I don't like it.
Oh.
I told you it's my least favorite 80s song. Chuck is in the chat who said, if you nail Don't Stop Believing at karaoke, you're not going home alone.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Facts.
It's funny. I know one of the
Nice.
karaoke bars I go to, they actually banned "Don't Stop Believin'" and "Sweet Caroline."
Thank you.
You have to pay to perform it.
I like this place.
It's a great place. I was like, wow, they must really get those requests a lot. Those 2 songs and Bohemian Rhapsody, you cannot go there and perform unless you want to
right.
you want to pay $20, $30 or whatever it
It
is.
just reminds me a little of the scene in Wayne's World where he goes to test out the guitar and he starts playing something and they point
Stairway.
to the sign, no stairway.
Yeah. Can we
Can't
just go
play
back
Stairway to
to EJ's sentence of one of the karaoke bars I go to? How many do you go to regularly?
Do you
I love karaoke. I love karaoke.
Me too. It's what I do with my college friends.
The main one that I've gone to the last few years is the one I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
there's one in Queens.
You guys don't do karaoke?
No.
Oh, it's the best.
You're missing out. The problem is we do this with my college friends, and then we realize the whole night has gone past. We have not talked to each other about, like, how's your family doing? Or how's everyone? Because you're just so busy singing.
The time goes by also.
It fades away.
Yeah, it just feels like it's double, triple time. Like,
all of a sudden it's 4 a.m. and just stumbling out of there. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I think EJ is the new Pete Pilati. Him and Maggie
Oh, yeah.
go and do.
No, Nick Theodoro is the new Pete in that relationship.
Oh, does he like comedy sequels and things like that?
I forget what the thing was, but there was like 3 rapid fire connections between the 2 of them last week when Nick was here.
Oh, wait a minute. Cap brings up something really good in the chat. Again, youtube.com/infinitysportsnet. Please sing EJ. EJ, I forgot. You're a terrible singer.
Oh, yeah, I'm awful.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I'm not great either, but, like, I'm definitely not as bad as you. You at the karaoke bar must be a nightmare. I hope you guys get your own room.
So, well, yeah, I think only one time I've actually done, like, the public thing, but actually performed a rap song.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, there's certain songs you're terrible at, but you probably have your go-tos.
yeah, I mean, I haven't actually gone in a while because of the pandemic, quite frankly. But, like, yeah, there are certain songs that I have go-tos. If I'm doing public, I'll do a rap song. In a room, though, yeah, like, I love, like, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, but
like,
your Sweet Caroline
Larger Than Life is my go-to for karaoke.
Your Sweet Caroline was, I mean, you know that we love you and respect you. It was an abomination. You butchered that song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I felt bad for, like, Neil Diamond.
I felt for
I have
us.
no
Red
problem
Sox
wearing
fans.
the fact that I'm a bad singer. My mom's been telling me this since I was literally 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, that's
like, she's like, baby, you cannot carry a key.
But somehow you still have a lot of confidence, which is also.
By the way, also, you said one of the karaoke bars I go to, and you haven't been to a karaoke bar since before the pandemic. What are you talking
dangerous.
about?
Well, for a while, it was dangerous. Like, they're mad packed. Like, I didn't go. Like,
Even I've been to karaoke bars. I said I don't do karaoke. I've been at least 3 or 4 times
well, then why
since
do
the
you
pandemic.
you just acted like I was crazy for going to karaoke bars.
Well, I mean, I go because my kids had like parties and stuff, but you haven't been since before the pandemic. You're not a karaoke guy if you haven't been in 5 years.
I mean, I'm busy. I have a lot of things I do. I mean,
Bogus,
I
you
love
wouldn't do
karaoke
this.
though.
That was a faux karaoke guy.
That was a flimsy statement.
What? Are you guys serious?
One of the karaoke bars I go to, and you haven't been since 2016?
No,
you don't know the rules anymore.
First of all, it's more like 2021, I guess. Like, right? Like, pandemic was 2020. Like, yeah.
Man.
I do
Okay.
love me some karaoke though.
855-212-4227. EJ's got his weekend plans. Back to the karaoke bar.
I guess I have to go
One
this
of his
weekend
one-
now. Thanks, Perloff.
He's going to have to choose between the many that he frequented back in 2009.
I mean,
They miss you so much.
I was going to say.
EJ, where have you been?
Oh, thank goodness.
I think you got this wrong. I think they see EJ coming and close the doors
Like, oh, no.
and the shutters. Just like, oh no.
That's why they banned Sweet Caroline, because you sang it once.
Ooh, that one's banned too, EJ. Oh, so's that one. Oh, so's that.
The whole Backstreet Boys catalog is out now.
Oh no, then I'd be
Ooh,
toast.
and we're closed. Sorry. Try again tomorrow.
It's like, oh, did they close in the pandemic? Like, no.
It's like those old westerns when like the outlaw comes in and I just like close the shutters,
Yeah.
close the doors,
And I love the way-
a little tumbleweed goes by.
Of all the things that were dangerous during the pandemic, you're like karaoke bars in particular. That was
That's my line.
Fauci used to get online. He's like, whatever you do not sing karaoke.
Listen, they're crowded. Okay,
You got on the subway, but you're like karaoke because you're projecting your voice.
Can't do it with a mask on.
Yeah.
Doesn't land the
No,
same.
right.
Okay, greatest. No, not greatest. That's not the question. Funniest athlete of all time. That's the great debate for today. You can weigh in with your selection. Bogus, thank you. Got a lot more that we have not gotten to yet, so this is great. Keep them coming. Also, we've got a question for you. It has to do with college. It has to do with a new policy that's being put in place, and quite frankly, we don't like it. Get it to you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds.
This is the first time you've ever sung.
5 seconds.
Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We need to help him
Good
out here.
time never seemed so good.
So good! So good! So good!
I've been inclined bum, 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 to believe
Now you feel it.
they never would. Good times never seem so good. So good! So good!
So good!
I've been inclined.
Now you feel it. Let's go.
To believe they
Of course,
never.
the immortal Muhammad Ali. We're asking who is the funniest athlete of all time. Got a lot of great options for you between us on the show
Yeah.
and then some of the great submissions that you guys have
Can
had.
we also acknowledge the reason we're talking about this week? Is Jason Kelsey, who's not on anybody's list because I think people had too much Jason Kelsey over the last month. But Jason Kelsey, you ever heard the story of how he got engaged? That is legit funny.
What was that story?
His wife's like, well, we got to his parents' house or something. He had to run in. Said he had to use the bathroom, and she said he came back too quick because he usually is in there for 25 minutes.
I do remember that.
She's like,
Gross.
he was funny. I think he's getting a little overexposed, but he is genuinely funny.
Yeah, we were him and Travis, and I think Travis is pretty funny too. The podcast is funny, but the funniest athlete of all time, they have a long way to go. Long way to go. But
well, you're going to get plenty of Jason Kelsey in your life, so we'll see how he does.
I know I'm already annoyed by it. Chris is in South Carolina. Chris, who's the funniest athlete of all time?
It's got to be Conor McGregor. I mean,
another Eagles fan, by the way.
His press conferences, his post-fight interviews. I mean, this guy. I mean, even his opponents. I mean, he has them laughing when he's talking smack to him, and just based on his, his humor alone. I mean, he's transformed that whole organization. I mean, everybody he moves the needle. I mean, people love to see him. I mean, it's crazy. He's super funny. Do you not agree?
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing about Conor, Chris. It's a great call by you. Conor's like a troll. That's his humor, right? He's like a professional troll. We have a clip from Conor. Here he is.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
That's Connor's the defiant troll. Sometimes some of the stuff can get a little, like a little distasteful when they're trying to sell fights and stuff. It can get a little personal. Some stuff is tinged with a little bit of race stuff, but he's got this larger than life personality, and what he's done for the UFC is crazy. I had another fighter. I thought Chael Sonnen is really funny. He's not obviously as famous as Connor, but Chael is hilarious. He's on Jim Rome all the time, and he brings it. He does the smack off. I mean, dude is legit funny.
Did you guys see Conor McGregor with Big Dom this weekend?
Another person I'm
for some reason, Conor McGregor was at the Eagles game and wearing Eagles jersey. Like, he's all in on the Eagles, and he's a legend forever in Philly now. The one thing the caller said, like, Conor McGregor does seem to connect with people.
Definitely.
Like, there was a report that he somehow found a way to, like, shake every hand in the Eagles bar. His popularity is crazy. And I do agree, there is some stuff that is distasteful about him, but there's definitely a connection.
Charles is in Maine. Charles, good morning.
Good morning. Hard to argue with Ali as the answer to this question, but I'm going to stick with Yogi Berra. And I do think at some point along the way he became aware of his persona and the character that had been created, because my favorite Yogiism is when he said, I didn't really say all the things that I said.
Yeah.
So he was clearly aware of that. I didn't really say all the things I said. And I want to add one more point about Richard Dawson, if I have a couple extra seconds.
Oh, yeah. We were doing our top 5 great game show hosts of all time.
Well, I don't know if this has been clarified since then, but I think the movie Perloff was thinking of is The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, that's what I said, right. I said The Great Escape, same movie.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but also Lee Marvin and not Steve McQueen. But a few weeks ago, you guys had a great debate about the greatest mic drop by an athlete leaving his sport or retiring.
Yeah.
And in the Dirty Dozen, Jim Brown was in that movie. And Art Modell was fining him for not showing up to training camp, so he retired.
Oh, I didn't know that fact, Charles.
That was, he had just led the NFL in rushing, and I think he was the MVP for like the 3rd time, and Modell fined him for not showing up to training camp, and he retired.
Wow.
I'm going to do this movie, and he did. So anyway, interesting piece of trivia there. Great show. Love talking to you guys. Have a great
thanks,
day.
Charles. Appreciate that. Obviously, Jim Brown retiring still in his prime is something of lore, but I didn't realize it was specifically tied to that movie. I've actually never seen that.
Well, yeah, he wanted to be a full-time actor. You've never seen Dirty Dozen?
I know. It's on me. It's on me.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Brown did a lot of movies. I was recently watching a bio of him. I mean, he did a ton of work over there. Some more Yogiisms, by the way. It ain't over till it's over is probably his most famous line, but baseball is 90% mental. The other half is physical. I think he's sort of one of the most famous, useful idiots. He crossed way over his sports. Do you guys remember? You do not remember. When I was a kid, there was Baseball Follies. Do you remember that show?
No.
The host was a guy, it was basically bloopers.
Yeah.
And it was great. There was a guy named Jay Johnstone who played on the Phillies and Mets. I don't remember. He was John Kruk before John.
Yeah.
He was like a comedian / baseball player.
He hosted it? No.
He hosted it, yeah. And he did all ESPN. Anytime there was a funny show on, they went to Jay Johnstone. But I think he played in the 80s. No one?
I don't remember that.
I remember that show. I remember it being a thing.
I remember when Marv Albert used to make appearances on Letterman where he would do sports bloopers.
Yes. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was funny.
All right. Anyway, Jay Johnstone. Anyone who's really old want to call in and share?
No, we're good.
Is Hawk Harrelson funny? Like those guys? Are the Homer baseball guys are always kind of funny?
I mean,
Harry Carey was funny.
Harry Carey, I think, was kind of. He had to be kind of in on it, right? I mean, once Will Ferrell is spoofing you, you have to kind of understand, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know about Hawk Harrelson. I mean, I know him from his famous "Put It on the Board," yes, but I don't know if he was actually very funny. Vin Scully. Do you consider Vin Scully funny?
No, he was not funny.
That's why he was a great storyteller, but that's why I feel like Bob Uecker is my choice for this because he was funny while broadcasting and all of that. Not to mention the acting.
Yeah, with the Phillies, we had Richie Ashburn, who was really, really funny. I think all the old school guys had so much time to kill. His games was 3.5 hours on the road all the time, getting hammered and meeting women.
Man, can I tell you? And this is not like it maybe intentionally funny, but a funny story. Have you guys seen this new podcast? I sent it to you guys yesterday. It's called Raw Room. And they have like random former football players and stuff, guys who you definitely remember their name, but they weren't like super like guys of distinction. And there's these two. It's King Dunlap. Do you remember he played offensive line? And I got to find the other guy he was talking to. And they talk about being at Kevin Minter. And they're talking about how they took edibles before a preseason game.
This is the same podcast that Brandon Jacobs went on and said that he was smoking crack or cocaine before a high school game. He ran for 300 yards.
Yeah, right. No, did it that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this podcast has really cornered the market on these like random drug stories. But they tell this story. King Dunlap tells this story about how he took like an edible, I guess at the halftime maybe of a preseason game. And as it's kicking in, he's on the bench and seeing the lights from the stadium like all of a sudden start getting brighter and brighter. And he's like has this crazy drug experience in a preseason game. Kevin Minter is talking about how someone was trying to make the team. He is on an edible. He's super stoned. Someone else gets hurt, carted off the field, and he can't stop laughing.
Oh, man. He's probably lucky one of the cameras didn't go to him. Because that would have been a whole story.
Then he said he's just in the locker room trying to collect all of his stuff, and he was so stoned he like couldn't get his bag together.
Yeah.
Silly. Okay, lots more to do. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's been an all-time start to the season for Derek Carr and the Saints. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. 443 passing yards, Perloff, 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception. There's no doubt that after 2 weeks of the NFL season, Derek Carr and the Saints are the story. Now, the question is, can they keep it up?
Yeah, I mean, the schedule is okay. They host Philly, they got Atlanta, and then to the Chiefs. The Chiefs is a hard one. I think the real question is, how good is this division? I mean, are you going to have really hard games against Tampa Bay and Atlanta? I feel like the Saints are good enough. They beat up on the Bucs at the end of last year. I feel like they're good enough to at least split with all those teams. I think we're talking playoffs. 2-0, if everybody stays healthy. The other thing that's ironic, everybody hated Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
But he's a good defensive coach, or at least he seems to be a competent defensive coach. Now that you have a good OC, feels like they've solved that coaching issue.
Well, he was the odds-on favorite to be the first coach fired, and that's how down people were on him. And they made this big switch, their offensive coordinator, not to get too in the weeds here, but it was this guy named Pete Carmichael, who you remember was very famous because he was with Drew Brees and was with the organization for a long time. I think he was there for like a total of 15 years or something, and they moved on from him and brought in Clint Kubiak, Gary Kubiak's son, who's essentially running the Kyle Shanahan offense. And when you have a competent quarterback who you can pair with a dynamic and explosive running back like Alvin Kamara, who is kind of like McCaffrey in the sense that he can run and he can catch passes, like he's got it all. We just hadn't seen it in a few years. Oh,
absolutely. I think an interesting thing, too, about the way they built this team, I thought they have to have one of the cheapest receiver rooms in the NFL. And you look at all the guys who cashed in this offseason. Basically, I mean, what are they? Brandon Ayuk can't catch anymore. Like, generally, they are an electric offense who isn't really paying anybody. Like, there's no 50. Derek Carr's not making $50 million. Kamara is pretty highly paid for a running back, but it's funny to me that they don't have these names and they don't have these weapons, and yet they're going to play indoors. I think they're going to put up big numbers all year long.
Yeah, well, Chris Olave, definitely a star in college for sure.
Right, but he's on his rookie. He's on his rookie deal, but.
So here's my thing about this. I love this story. And anytime you have this kind of combination with a great fan base, one who deserves to watch winning football because of how loyal they've been to a team that at one point was called the Aints and all of the history, and had the high times with Breeze and Sean Payton. And then like to have this fan base have something good to root for and not have your team be irrelevant, I'm always for that. Now, I say that to also say this. I think of all the 2-0 teams that we're seeing now, I think this is the one I'm most dubious of. And the reason why is because these numbers are insane. Are you going to be able to keep up? Now, you said the schedule is not hard and they are playing indoors, but it's also Derek Carr. And he's gotten off to hot starts before, and quite frankly, it just hasn't amounted to a whole lot. Now, I tried to do a little more research on what had possibly changed for Derek Carr this offseason, beyond just Clint Kubiak and the new offensive coordinator. Apparently, Perloff, now he's doing some kind of visualization technique that Drew Brees taught him, that he goes through every single play or something like that, and he says that's responsible for the quick start. Do you believe that?
I mean, isn't he in his 9th year or something? Or he's never done, they all see sports psychologists. He's never done visualization.
Apparently, this is the thing. I read it in NOLA.com. It's got to be true.
I heard Mark Schlereth say something a little different. He said that Clint Kubiak runs the exact same offense that John Gruden ran. And that, which I don't understand because John Gruden comes from Green Bay and the West Coast offense, but basically saying this is Derek Carr's offense. So maybe that's a possibility along with the visualization. But by the way, like Derek Carr has got gaudy numbers throughout his career. I mean, he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. Like when he gets hot, he could get really hot. But you say like he cools off. He goes up and down.
Well, that's the thing. The consistency is not there, and talk to any Raider fan because you've been like sort of tempted, lured, you've been pulled in so many times and then just for Derek Carr to throw like a bad pick or make a really bad decision.
See, when I think about the Raiders and Derek Carr, it wasn't always Derek Carr. There was a lot of negative things going on around him.
That's true.
It was always like, well, Derek Carr, but you didn't point to the quarterback as laying the team down. The team let everybody down and injuries. You thought it was Derek Carr was the Raiders' problem?
No, the Raiders have a lot of problems, but I think people got very frustrated with Derek Carr. I do.
Really? I feel like when you draft Garyon Conley and all these guys, when you make 5 first-round picks in a row who barely make the team.
Henry Ruggs is sitting in a jail cell. Right.
I mean, everybody, I feel like Derek Carr was not the problem. And maybe I'm misremembering it. There were so many other problems. I mean, who did Derek Carr play around? Nobody. He had 1 year with Devontae Adams, but that's it.
And Devontae specifically going there for Derek Carr, and then that thing just sort of totally fizzling out.
But look who the coach was. I mean, this is. There's so much going on with the Raiders, and also Derek Carr was really, really good at the end of last season.
So do you think he can keep it up?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he can keep it up because at the end of last year, he had, I think, his last 4 games he had over 100 rating. When he's healthy, he was not healthy last year in New Orleans. I think he had 2 different injuries.
Yeah.
I said it coming this year. He is when he's good, he's good.
And right now it looks very, very good. And again, playing your Eagles next week, well, now this looks a little bit different because I'm very curious of how Philadelphia is going to rebound from this loss on Monday night. That was a gut punch. I know, you were talking about it yesterday, the whole show basically. And Saquon Barkley, that drop, how does he respond from that? And how does the whole team respond to what, quite frankly, was a lot of coaching mismanagement, not just on the drive that got all the attention with the 3rd and 3, but the defense being bad and not tackling and all of it. I mean, is Philadelphia even going to show up to this game? I think is a really good question.
Yes. I think they're desperate for a win after what happened. So I think when they're desperate, Jalen Hurts runs. He sells out on the run, puts his body and his health to the side. So that's why I was going to make New Orleans my pick of the week, but I'm worried about Hurts putting this, because if Hurts wants to run, he's unstoppable.
Yep.
But he just, like all quarterbacks, protects himself. It would be so funny if they go 1-3 and they fire him, their week 4 bye. I think Saquon Barkley's going to sit there all year. Like everyone's going to say, "You got this, coach." Fired, and it's be Saquon Barkley. Like
a lot of people got him fired.
I think he will wear this.
I think Saquon will wear it, but I mean, the fact that the head coach Nick Sirianni doesn't have a good relationship with the quarterback—that's also something. The fact that they rotated out all these coordinators year after year after year—that's something. It's a lot of things.
I don't think it will be remembered. I think it'll be this is Saquon's drop got Nick Sirianni because if he's 2-0, he's safe for the entire season. There's no doubt in my mind.
I don't know. The question about Derek Carr, can he keep this up at 855-212-4227? When I said I thought the Saints being 2-0 was a little bit of fool's gold, literally a caller, Chris in Birmingham, called in to say, "Thank you, Maggie, for doubting my Saints. This is exactly where they want to be. They don't want everyone heaping the attention. They want to be the team that nobody saw coming." That's going to be hard if you're continue to score 40 points a game.
Well, it's pretty easy to win the NFC South.
Or not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe,
the Bucs might be good, and let's see what happens with the Falcons.
The Bucs, as you pointed out many times, have some tough games. They got this first place schedule, so we'll see how that all works out.
But one of them was going to Detroit, and they won that game.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun. So they all get 2 wins over the Panthers. And who knows now that Andy Dalton's there? you're right. It's going to be a battle royale for this division. And the other divisions have all cleared out for the most part. I mean, Seattle's 2-0. They do not scare me at all. They needed overtime to beat the Patriots. So there's going to be an extra wild card spot here. Yeah, you're right. I think we get 2 playoff teams.
That would be wild. Not something could have seen going into the season. 2 playoff teams from the NFC South. Okay, on Wednesdays, we do something called the Great Debate. And today, we're asking the question, who is the funniest athlete of all time? And can I just say that I'm like breathing a bit of a sigh of relief because I have lost like 10 of these in a row. Finally, I'm winning in one of the polls. No. Bob Uecker.
No way.
My selection at 53% I'm trouncing you guys.
He's smoking the field here?
Well,
more than Barkley?
Barkley,
Charles Barkley?
31%. Peyton Manning, 14%. Michael Irvin, 2%. Nico, I'm sorry, your selection of Eli Manning couldn't make it on the poll. There's only 4 slots.
I should have went with Tim Tebow again to see if Perloff's theory was right.
Tebow.
Only one Manning can make the cut this time.
And Andrew Kaplan's pick of A-Rod being unintentionally funny.
All right.
Also a good one.
I'm going to need to act here.
Don't do it. Don't get your Philly Army on this.
Philly Army?
Oh, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be like, so, unless you're an idiot, don't you think Charles Barkley's the funniest athlete of all time?
Oh, EJ gets so mad about how I word my polls.
Oh, my God. The way you word polls, man. They didn't get you at Rasmussen or Quinnipiac.
Yeah, if Perloff was running the presidential polls, we'd have no idea who was in the lead. Even less than we do now.
Honestly, any difference between that
Actually,
and
are
a
you
normal
running
poll?
the polls? You might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised. I would. Let's check back on this at the end of the show. Charles is going to win this. We have 24 hours. He will win this poll.
I don't know. I got a lot of Euchre
Side
stands
bet?
on my... No, I'm not doing the bets right now. I got a Waffle House thing hanging over my head like an anvil. I got to chill on the bets.
Double or nothing.
Nico, the last time I did that, I ended up eating way too much tuna jelly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all right, you can go and vote at Maggie and Pearl.
Look
Okay,
at Nico stirring it up there. Double or nothing, Maggie. Why not?
like I haven't thought of it. But no, I can't do that.
I'll give you Nico can help you eat waffles because Nico weighs about 111 pounds. I don't know how many. Are you a big eater, Nico?
Not really.
Yeah, it shows.
You can bring Nico with you.
Nico, you're good for what?
You'll
a
have
waffle?
half a waffle.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
Nico's only request for this show was I need to turn up the temperature in here because he's like, I'm small. We get colder when we're this skinny.
I know, you're skin and bones, man.
I was like, no problem. I can turn it up. No big deal.
You know the weird part about the Waffle House bet? I'm fascinated. Are you going to be able to resist the delicious sides of Waffle House? Like, you're not going to put sausages on there?
Yeah, it's not even going to be in my
You know, when
field
you
of
put
view.
the syrup on the waffles and some of it goes into the bacon and the sausage, you got to try it.
I'm not here for fun, bro. I'm like, it's a bet I lost.
You get to eat waffles.
But so many of them that it turns from something good to something bad, you know? It's like only eating candy or, you know, back in the day you get caught smoking, you got to smoke the whole pack. You know, it's like that.
I don't know. I've never...
Smoking on that Waffle House pack. That's what it's going to be.
I think I'm more of a
right?
pancake guy myself. Yeah. Like, I don't think there's any downside for eating pancakes.
But I have to eat 24, and for every hour I'm in there, one comes off the total. So I'm eating like 12 waffles minimum. It's a lot, dude.
Really? I don't know.
And I got to sit there for 12 hours.
I think if it was waffles, have these sharp edges. Pancakes would be a lot easier, wouldn't it?
I think pancakes make you fuller faster, though. They're denser.
I don't think there's a massive
waffle
difference.
Can be kind of lighter.
I think it's the same kind of batter.
I'm praying.
A waffle could be lighter, huh? Good luck on that one.
A little airier. Sometimes pancakes have like ricotta cheese in them. Like it depends what kind of pancake you make.
Wait, what?
Andrea makes them with bananas.
If you put ricotta cheese in a pancake, get out of my house forever. You might put blueberries in there. Ricotta cheese? It's a pancake.
Hold on. Ricotta pancakes. Am I like crazy?
That sounds a little weird.
Can I call timeout?
Yeah.
Ricotta cheese.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nico. That probably did offend you.
You're like, sometimes you put ricotta cheese. I'm not saying ricotta. I would sound too
How do you
stupid.
say mozzarella?
Mozzarella.
How do you say prosciutto?
Prosciutto.
Yeah, lemon ricotta pancakes, Perloff. I mean, educate yourself.
Yeah. No, I go to IHOP and give me a lemon ricotta pancake. They'd be like, get out of this building.
Maybe I can do that and get myself kicked out of a Waffle House.
Yeah, let's. Do they have lemon ricotta waffles? That is literally the bougiest thing you've ever said on this show.
When you said ricotta, in my head I was thinking mascarpone, because people will put mascarpone on like waffles or pancakes or something like that.
That sounds good.
Ricotta, I'm like,
I do like a good ricotta. A little honey drizzle on there.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. It's 3/4 of a cup of ricotta cheese. I'm also not saying ricotta because I'm going to sound like a poser.
Do you understand that many people order pancakes around the country and they usually get bananas, maybe blueberries? Ricotta cheese is not a standard pancake ingredient.
I'm telling you guys, get out a little more.
There ain't going to be no ricotta cheese in your waffles, Maggie. 12 of them. I mean, the funny part about this bet, too, is the math. Like, you're going to have to sit there with a calculator and determine the best course of action. Are you allowed to throw up?
Well, I mean, all these things are negotiable. But what I expect not just like a piece of paper. It's like when someone's in jail and they have keep a one line on the wall for every day they're in the slammer. I'm going to have one line on the side of the Waffle House for every waffle I eat. 4 and then a slash through it. Next 4, slash through it. Like I'm on a desert island or something.
Is this like Survivor?
Yeah. Yes. Is it not?
I mean, I guess.
I'm expecting Jeff Probst to be there at the end with a necklace or something. 855-212-4227. The question, can Derek Carr keep this up? Second question, who is the funniest athlete of all time? It's Maggie and Perloff. We're back in a minute. All right, Pearl, I have no idea who you did for Prize Picks last night.
His name is Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh, wow, look at you.
Yes.
That's a good one. Well, Perloff and I are obsessed with Prize Picks, and so will you. Just give it a try. It's the best place to bet real money sports action while watching football or any sport. Season-long fantasy just takes way too much time. So Prize Picks, you pick a new lineup every day. The app is super simple to use. You pick 2 or more players across any sport and then just more or less on the projection, and you could win up to 100 times your money.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. needed 9.5 fantasy points last night, ended up with 13, including a notable stolen base. On Prize Picks, you can still cash out even if the lineup isn't perfect and all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Not only that, Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy app with injury insurance. If one of your players goes down in the first half, Prize Picks doesn't count it as a loss. Some of the ways that Prize Picks puts its members first.
All right, all you got to do, so simple. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code M&P, Maggie and Perloff, and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. That's code M&P on Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run
Kick your hands up and shout. Throw
your
hands up and shout. Come on now. Come on now. The Bills are making it happen now. Stand up and come on and shout. Yeah. Yeah. Come on and shout. Kick it up now. Shout, 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 shout. Bills are making it happen now. Go Josh Allen. Freddie Jackson. Eric Moulds. Makes me want to shout, 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 shout. I can't follow all the lyrics here. Bills, Bills, Bills. Hey,
Peerless Price.
Hey.
Eagles fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I gotta wait. I know that.
Is this the first time you've ever sung?
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We need to help him out here.
Time never seemed so good.
So good. So good. So good.
I've been inclined bum, 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 to believe
Now you feel it.
they never would. Good times never seem so good.
So good. So good. So good.
I've been inclined.
Now you're feeling it. Let's go.
To believe they never would.
Is this now? Bill, make me want to shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout.
YouTube subscribers, and that was the deal.
All right, let me take your shirt. Oh!
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again.
Okay.
Maggie's in the office, can't take it no more. Just a small town girl, she slams the door. The lights go down and the music starts to play, but Maggie's had enough, she's screaming no way. She's sick of the journey and tired of the song. The midnight train, it's been rolling too long. But while she is out here hating on the tune, Peter Bellatti's the one who's gone too soon. Don't stop believing, Pete's not showing up. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, that's not enough. Streetlight people work, but Peter don't care. He's missing again, and there's no one there. Maggie's in the break room, hearing that refrain. Strangers waiting, but Pete's missed his train. She's working hard to get a fill, but Pete's just living life at a standstill. She's searching in the night for Bellatti's excuse, but all she finds is another lane route. The midnight train ain't bringing him in. He's just like that song, worn way too thin. Don't stop believing, but Pete's still MIA. Hold on to that feeling, yeah, that's not enough. Streetlight people work, but Peter don't care. He's missing again, and there's no one there.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Nico is on the ones and twos going with an 80s theme. Maggie apparently likes 80s music, but has no room in her life for Journey.
I don't know how you guys like that song.
Yeah, because it's a classic. It's an all-timer.
I think Sopranos may have ruined it. They didn't ruin a lot, but...
Don't Stop Believing was a huge song before The Sopranos.
I know, but it got this second life where it started playing. It wasn't playing in every bar.
It was a common stadium theme, I would say. You know,
Yeah, that doesn't help either because I got to listen to all this stuff at sporting events. And it's the one song from the 80s that really annoys me.
She's not wrong that it became like the official closing song of a bar, last song in a wedding.
What's that song
everywhere.
they always end as closing time? That's the official closing song. Right, they always play it. I haven't been in a bar and closing in a long time.
I haven't seen closing of a bar in a while either. But I don't know. I don't want to know if they're playing Journey. I will wish I had left many rounds before.
What are the other are there other Journey songs? I remember "Oh Sherry" by Steve Perry solo. But Journey played at a Super Bowl. I was at a Super Bowl, and Journey was outside the stadium with the non-Steve Perry singer. That is not a big fan of 80s super bands that have a new singer because the other guy's gone.
Yeah, I know.
It's like some rando.
It can be kind of tragic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard when someone gets replaced, like when bands break up. I also think it's kind of sad sometimes when you see bands who everyone's kind of looks a little worse for wear, you know? It's like, oh, you're still out here.
Well, that's like, I mean,
REO Speedwagon, something like that.
Yeah, that's the only way bands can make money, right?
I know, touring. Why do you think the Rolling Stones are still out there?
But they don't need money. Just because Mick Jagger's got to perform. Yeah, that's a great question. Like, why are they out there? Actually, do you have an answer?
I think they need money.
No.
Nobody at 80 years old wants to be out there in skinny pants being like, do-do-do-do-do-do.
They do not. There's no way. If the Rolling Stones need money, then there's no musician who's out. I mean,
you know,
they
people
got paid.
go broke, right? I don't think they're all broke. I'm not saying that, but I think they have expensive lifestyles. How many ex-wives does Mick Jagger have? How many kids does he have?
Their songs are in every commercial. They get so many millions.
Do they even own the rights to their music?
I think they do own their songs.
Okay.
When Microsoft bought Start Me Up, I thought they got $1 million every time it ran. I think Mick Jagger needs to be in the limelight. I think you get addicted to the spotlight.
I mean, they came up at a time when the music industry was not favorable to artists. I don't know how much money they make from their songs.
I bet you Mick Jagger's close to a billionaire. I honestly, I'm not sure, but I think you're reading that band wrong.
Okay, but also I think sometimes they'll do it for the other guys in the band, the people they tour with. You know how like Charles Barkley doesn't need to be on TV anymore. He says he does it for the staff. What?
This says that Mick is worth $6.5 billion.
Yeah, no. Mick Jagger is a corporation.
Well, how do you think he got that rich? It's not from turning gigs down.
Well, they royalties, but also I think he has some other interests too. I mean, Rolling Stones. I mean, we're talking about like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. But what's the band? Jane's Addiction the other day got in a big fight with Perry Farrell. Went after Dave Navarro. Those guys probably need the money.
Or like Oasis just got back together.
Yeah, I mean, Oasis had like a 4-year run. The Rolling Stones have been relevant for 56 years.
It's 1968, or maybe even before that.
No, 65.
$6.5 billion seems to not be true. It seems to be more 500 mil north of that keeps being referenced in other things. But the first Google return is the man worth $6.5 billion, according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index. That's how they ID Mick Jagger. So
maybe they meant streams. 6.5 billion streams.
So here's a line.
Wild horses.
He said his music he still has his music inventory. He said, "My children don't need $500 million to live well." Come on, he joked to the publication. So that's just for his music library. I think they have a lot of money.
Honestly, that did make a headline where Mick Jagger said that he's not leaving everything to his kids. That's a tough break if you're one of the kids.
Well, he said he's giving some to charity. I mean, like, do all those, I don't know, like, is Jeff Bezos giving all his money to his kids?
Does he have kids?
I have no idea.
By the way, did you bringing this back to sports, if I can speak, Michael Jordan's mansion in Chicago finally sold. $15 million, but it's been on the market forever. It's got the famous gates in front that have 23.
15.
15, 1-5. Can you imagine? It seems like Michael Jordan is like one of the most private people, right? Like,
sure.
He's like not around. Imagine putting 23 on the gate. Like, who lives here? I don't know. Hard to tell. Chicago suburb with a 23 on the gate.
I don't think his mail gets lost.
Right.
15's not bad.
That's a lot for a house, don't you
I get you like a 4-bedroom in Brooklyn right now. I'm totally not joking.
I know, that's sad.
15 million is not high end. Bogus and I watch these real estate shows, and that's sort of moderate.
I know that you guys watch these real estate shows because you won't shut up about it.
I tried to give one a shot last week.
Yeah, the sports die-in this year. There's a lot of athletes who are showing up on Selling Sunset.
Anyone who we should know about?
Yeah, Johnny Manziel and his ex-wife have this thing going on.
Oh,
I haven't seen it yet, but I've been reading a lot about
Deshaun
it.
Watson was on the episode,
Yeah,
too.
Deshaun.
And Andrea comes in and was like, "Did you know Deshaun Watson was on Selling Sunset?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then, like, she kind of looks at me like, why I'm not, like, excited. She's like, "Wait, is that the massage guy?" I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "Oh, that's why you didn't react to that." I'm like, "Yeah, not the greatest time to be talking about Deshaun Watson."
Yeah, I mean, you say that it's a shallow endeavor. I have to see what kind of bungalow Kiki Vandaway ends up with. No, I mean, they have a lot of sports hires. Yeah, basically, there's
He's
one
too big to live in a bungalow.
There's one in Tampa Bay where I guess every professional athlete has a place in Tampa Bay, and all they're doing is rotating like B-level NBA players.
Did you guys see the trailer for that new NBA documentary? I'm going to use doc in air quotes. It dropped yesterday.
Oh, the LeBron show?
LeBron, DeMontis Sabonis, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, and I think that's it.
So it's their version of quarterback or receiver?
Yep.
Okay.
It's just too close. It's just, we needed this 2 months ago.
Oh, right, because the season's about to start.
The season's about to start. We're now in football. Like,
Well,
I need
feel
this
like
during training camp.
The NBA, like, we have a lot of exposure to LeBron's life. I mean,
Just wait. I feel like
I
we
don't
haven't
know.
even
Like, can
scratched
we get
the surface.
What are you talking about? The guy, he's on TV for 4 out of 24 hours a day. He has the shop. He has all this. I just don't know that there's a lot that we don't know about LeBron.
I think a camera crew's been following him since like 2006.
Right, but
all
we
that
see a lot
footage
of
is
it.
going somewhere.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. Like, is there a lot to learn? DeMontis Sabonis, like I watch that. Like, I have no idea what he does on a Tuesday afternoon, but I feel like LeBron, it's like, I don't know, he tweets like 400 times a day. I feel like he's exposed.
I'm curious who's going to steal the show on this one. I'd be shocked if it's Tatum.
I think it's Jimmy.
Jimmy Butler's infinitely
Another guy. It's not
interesting, I
like
guess.
Jimmy Butler's not on my TV for half the day. Guy's
Well-
got 14 different commercials going right now.
But does he really live in a van in the off season? Is that true? And he drives across country? Like, let's see some of that. If Sabonis is the most interesting, that would be an upset.
I would be stunned.
Maybe we get some Arvidas.
I mean, listen, the wide receiver who wasn't necessarily who you thought would be the most interesting. Well, maybe, I don't know. Kittle was pretty interesting.
Yeah, Kittle was probably the guy.
I like the scene when Devontae Adams is hosting his daughter's birthday party and half the people there have no idea who he is.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like it's from his daughter's class and some of the parents like, oh, you play sports. Which one? It's like, what? Bogish is here with headlines. What's up?
Guys, have you mentioned this Tennessee story yet?
We keep teasing it. Let's do it.
Okay, so we've got Tennessee Athletics announcing yesterday a 10% talent fee being added to all athletics tickets. It's going to make up or fund the revenue sharing system that begins a year from now, where schools can share up to $22 million with the athletes. There's also a 4.5% increase in football tickets as well for Tennessee, but this is certainly not the last school to do something like this, and it just seems a little fishy to me.
Okay, here's my big question about this. So obviously Tennessee's in a good spot now. They had Hendon Hooker, before. Now they got Nico Iamaleava, and he could be a Heisman. He is a Heisman candidate, and they have him for at least one more year, right? Unless he hits the portal. So you're capitalizing on the excitement around Tennessee. Totally understand that. You're going to charge a 10% talent fee on the tickets plus another 4.5% increase. Once you get to that $22 million threshold, where's the rest of the money go?
Yes, that's where my issue is. This feels like a little faux inflation. Like, okay, we're going to raise prices to make sure we just meet the arbitrary goal of our profits, as opposed to us giving the players money. We're going to put it on the fans, some of whom are probably pissed that athletes are getting money. So now they're going to be further pissed that I got to pay extra money. And the 10% thing is, as far as I read it, is on all Tennessee tickets, not just football. Football is going to get its own ticket increase. But if you want to go to Tennessee basketball, your ticket's going to have 10% talent fee surcharge. And to me, they're putting the onus of this system on the players. That's who you should blame if you're pissed that your ticket's now more expensive.
I'll tell you where the money's going, by the way, because I was Tennessee. I'm thinking, why their AD just became the highest paid AD in the SEC at $2.75 million per year. That's where the money's going. It's going to administrators and coaches. And NIL shares a little with the players, but it's still the greatest grift in sports history is all these people who get rich off college football.
Right. And they still want to make $10 million. So they're
don't want
making
to
sure they're going to make $10 million by adding on this stuff to your ticket.
Which they have a right to do.
That's fine. But it would be, I think what people would feel a little bit better about is just to say either, like in professional leagues who have unions, you essentially split the revenue 50-50. Sometimes that can be a little weird with playoff games. It's not perfect, but just generally, you're splitting all the shared stuff 50-50. Meanwhile, you always ask, Pearl, where's the Diet Dr. Pepper money? Where's the insurance money? All the commercials that run, who's getting that? And is any of that filtering down to the student athletes?
Well, I mean, the latest ruling, right, House versus NCAA, there is going to be revenue sharing moving forward, but that is in the infancy stages of litigation. So who knows if that'll even go through. I agree with Bogish. They're trying to keep the old system basically in place, where the old guys make all the money and the players are getting more money, which is great. But I hate that it's going on to the fans. That really annoys me.
Also, and it should annoy everybody as fans, but you should be able to donate what you want to donate to the collective. Right? Isn't that right?
Why
if you want to donate to Tennessee football, you should be able to donate whatever you want, not 10% talent fee on your ticket.
Right, but don't forget, this is a little different than you're paying this to Tennessee.
Right.
Because Tennessee money is now getting distributed, which it wasn't. The collective is still going to be its thing on the side where they can say, okay, I can give you $250K to come play quarterback here. So this is a little bit disconnected than a collective.
This 10% surcharge is actually going to a collective. No, it's actually
going to the university.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's going to the university. Because if Tennessee brings in $50 million a year, to oversimplify things, if they bring in $50 million a year in revenue, starting next fall, they can give athletes up to $22 million of that 50.
Right.
So what they're doing is, the way I see it is they're tacking on this 10% surcharge to all your tickets. So now they're bringing in the $22 extra million that they're giving to players, so they still end up with $50 million in their bank account. Which like it makes sense, but it's like the motivation to me is the issue here.
I also have a practical issue of you pay these fees, and they're always ridiculous, whether you're buying tickets for anything. But there's an idea that is shipping and handling or whatever. Like, this fee suggests that you're actually getting good talent. Like, what if at a certain point, like Tennessee's 3-9, and I'm paying a talent fee? Like, why am I paying that fee?
Yeah, or if the soccer team sucks.
Or soccer team or any team. Like, what? Like, at this point, to me, I need a return on the product to be really good to justify a quote-unquote talent fee that I don't think Tennessee can live up to, quite frankly. I'm sorry,
EJ,
no
in
disrespect
the
to Rocky
pros,
Top, but
that model is you could have a terrible team in the pros and the tickets aren't necessarily cheaper. I mean, maybe they are in the resale market, but you might go to see LeBron or the visiting team,
but
and those are still really expensive.
Right, but most of the time, again, I mentioned off air that, like, unless you are a Knicks fan, unfortunately, most of the time, if your team gets worse, your ticket sales go down, or your ticket prices
plateau.
go down.
They don't go down.
Some will bring them down. But teams that have had terrible seasons have done that. Like, it's different. I don't think this is going to happen with this. Like, the fee is the fee. 10% is 10%. Like, what happens again if Tennessee goes 2-10? I'm paying a talent fee for what?
Well, I'll tell you, the athletic director will be gone to Alabama by the time this question comes or whatever, because the administrators always just get to move on and move up and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, by the way. Like, because in the pros, I mean, the Rams are probably going to be bad this year because of all the injuries. Nobody's getting a dime back because of that. Like, and I don't think those tickets are going down in price. I think they're still going to keep raising. Teams always raise prices. They don't need success necessarily.
They don't need success, but again, I think the teams that have had really rough seasons, like, I don't think the Hornets, they definitely didn't raise their prices. It was definitely a cheaper ticket now than it was 10 years ago, probably, or whatever.
In this city, the Giants and Jets do the personal seat license. So you had to pay $20,000 for the right to buy your season ticket.
When's the last team those teams haven't won anything in a long time?
No, in fact, they've been awful. They've been close to irrelevant. Yeah, Nico.
Doesn't the lowering of the price also lower the 10% then? Like, if the ticket's $200, then you're paying $20, but if the ticket's only $20, you're paying $2.
Right. If they keep Josh Heupel, he's a good coach, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't feel like Tennessee has all the resources to be really good. I don't think that they would have a sustained fall from grace.
I really want Tennessee to be good. Rocky Top is awesome, and Josh Heupel seems like an awesome coach. Yeah. But, like, what we see in college football is, like, things just seem great until they're not. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason as to why a program that was super hot all of a sudden craters. I'm not going to say that there's no chance. Or what if Josh Heupel leaves? That's also a thing. What if he goes to Notre Dame? What if he goes to some other school that pays him more money? Am I still paying this 10% fee, or kids want to go play for the next coach at Tennessee? How do I know that?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at who's a program that fall off. Do you think tickets are cheap to all these other schools that may have an off year? You know, I don't think it really works like that. Also, you have to see the team that's coming in. You know, you're going to want that Alabama ticket. There's only 8 games a year.
Yeah, I'd be curious, like, for a team like Nebraska, right? In the 90s were amazing and then kind of fell off, and they're cycling through coaches. Now they're, got Dylan Raiola, and it's, feels like they're back a little bit. But how bleak did it get there? I know
one thing. Again, you could pick any of these Nebraska,
Miami,
like these prominent schools, like, try getting a ticket in the 90s to those games and try now. It's a lot different.
Folks, anything else?
On a lighter note from college athletics, Saturday's football schedule includes Marshall visiting Ohio State. Thundering Herd head coach Charles Huff with a unique offer to any Buckeyes that want to come home with his team.
I'd love to have some of those guys from Ohio State, too. So if they want to transfer on down, we've got a Tudor's Biscuit NIL, all you can eat. So if any of those guys that run really, really fast at Ohio State like Tudor's Biscuits, I promise you, all you can eat all day.
I like the idea, but I think the execution's a little off. I feel like it's the slow fat guys who are going to want the all-you-can-eat biscuits. Wide receivers are not going to go for that, but you want to improve your offensive and defensive lines, get yourself a biscuit NIL.
Man, I'm just on the website right now for Tudor's Biscuit World. We don't have this on the East Coast, as far as I know. The Big Tater. A bed of potatoes, scrambled eggs, and then whatever toppings you want. It looks like cheese and bacon.
Okay,
good.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I've got your attention. That's just breakfast.
That's an omelet on a bed of tater tots?
Yep. We got lunch, barbecue sandwich. That looks kind of normal. Let's go to dinner.
Apparently, though, like a West Virginia staple. Like, why do they always get the best stuff outside the Northeast?
Country fried steak.
Yeah, I can do without that.
Oh, I love country fried steak. So good when it's done right.
I think they're doing it right here.
Yeah, I guarantee you they're doing it right.
Perloff, hot roast beef sandwich?
Yes, please.
That's up your alley. The Hungry Man's Platter, a bowl of seasoned pinto beans, fried potatoes, coleslaw, chopped onions, and a slice of homemade cornbread. That's just the side.
Oh, okay. That's a side dish. I wouldn't want that as the entree, but on the side, all right.
I mean, all you can eat. How much are you getting through on this? I know I am someone who's about to eat 24 waffles thereabouts.
Yeah, this sounds like it's going to backfire on tutors. I didn't know what they were signing up for. If they're giving out all-you-can-eat NILs to college football players, they're going to have some empty closets and shelves and cabinets in that restaurant soon.
I love it.
Quickly from baseball last night, the Astros won 4-3-10 in San Diego. After Jose Altuve got the boot in the ninth inning, he had a ball off his foot towards third base, so he didn't run, but the umps didn't call it a foul ball, so he was out at first. As part of his argument, he took off his cleat and his sock to show the ump where the ball hit him. That's when he got thrown out. The guy that replaced Altuve scored the tie-breaking run and made the final out of the game. And again, a 4-3 win in 10 in San Diego.
But I have a question for you. Anytime a woman shows their feet in public, you end up on Wiki Feet.
What?
Yeah, this is
true?
Does Altuve end up on Wiki Feet?
You have to answer that question because I can't explain why men are attracted to women's feet. I can't imagine any woman is attracted to any man's foot.
Wait, you say it like everybody knows about Wiki Feet. This is news to me. There's something called Wiki Feet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like.
Is this from a Rex Ryan thing?
Maggie's all on page 1. That's how big it is.
I'm not eligible because it's too many megabytes to download a picture of my foot.
Is there a site not OnlyFans but Only Feet?
Yeah,
probably.
Maggie, I was going to say you have a revenue stream possibility. If size matters.
This is exactly the same conversation we had the last time that you have no recollection of.
About Only Feet?
Of her making money selling pictures of her feet.
Well, Wiki Feet, they make money, not you. It's a real racket. Talk about college football as a racket. This is the real racket. Someone else is cashing in on a picture of my feet because I happened to wear sandals one day at Sports Illustrated 100 years ago. Thank you.
Was they made special for you? I don't understand. I've never seen a sandal that big in my life.
It's actually a canoe.
You know how they make special shoes for Shaq? Like, did you have to call Tiva and say, do you make size 9 sandals? They're like, what?
Let me think of it. Tivas. Yeah, it was Birkenstock hooked me up with a special edition. Bigfoot section. Yeah. They're large. They're large feet. That's why it's such good balance.
Can I see the latest you have in Sasquatch sandals, please?
They just call that the Maggie line.
Okay, I like Nico's been on the other side of the glass because you guys made fun of me because I didn't know what moobs were yesterday. Nico also didn't know that. You did not know about Wiki Feet either.
I had no clue.
Yeah, Maggie, you said it like, well, you know, when you get your program, you're immediately on Wiki Feet. I'm like, no, I did not know this. Is this a big website? Is this like almost as big as Wikipedia itself?
Yeah. Yes, it's almost as big as Wikipedia.
You're aligning with Nico, who's been alive for like a third of the time that the rest of us have. It's okay that he doesn't know things. He hasn't lived anything. You've lived half a life. You should know what
so I should know
are.
Wiki Feet?
I mean, it seems self-explanatory, doesn't it?
It sort of. Do you have to pay to get on there?
I don't know.
Wait, like
but Matt, you said
model?
anytime you get caught in public. So there's really a site that like say someone's at the beach and immediately gets on there?
I mean, it's all different types of things. I'm just wondering if Jose Altuve's feet end up there on Wiki Feet. Because you said that women don't like men's feet, but maybe famous feet they like.
Wiki Feet, celebrity search.
And there's a whole one for sportscasters.
What? Maggie Gray autofills in the search bar.
Yeah. It's a special type of kink for people who like my feet.
Oh my God, Maggie, this is ridiculous. You're just sitting like on the dais of there's you and Billie Jean King, and your feet are on display.
I told you, I wore sandals one time.
Wait. Maggie's on Wiki Feet, and it's on with Billie Jean King? Let me see it.
At some kind of
It was a Fortune Most Powerful Women
and
conference.
all we get is the tip of your big toe, which is a regular sized toe for most people.
That's actually just my toe. It's not the whole foot. I know that could be confusing.
I knew this existed, but this is ridiculous.
We got to scrub that computer.
No, are you kidding me? Maggie, this should be your profile pic.
Me and
Oscar
Billy
De La Hoya and Maggie's left foot
What?
from SI Now.
I know. I wore sandals a lot that season on SI Now.
I am shocked. No wonder you know so much about it. You're all over it.
Well, again, where's my kickback? Why am I not making money off of someone else,
We are a terrible gender.
being weird about my feet?
This exists because dudes are sitting in I disgusting.
Well, you have to give them. Somebody had good Photoshop skills to actually get your feet in the frame.
Hire that man. No.
You get 4 out of 5 stars, Maggie.
I got 4 out of 5 stars?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
Did somebody alter them to make them smaller?
Shoe size 10.5. It has your birthday on here too.
The right one?
May 15th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The year?
83?
Yep.
This is creepy. Pay for social. No thanks.
No, pay. Maybe I'll get a check, a residual from WikiFeet. All right, we got to take a quick break. That went off the rails. Lots more to do in just a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Drug test.
Drug test.
I can breathe.
Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on poles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. So here's to Maggie and her feet so grand. She's the funniest girl in all the land. With her giant feet, she's never beat. Maggie's big feet make life so sweet. Oh, Maggie's big feet make life so sweet.
Andrew Bush loves Haiti, but not just for his 3-point spree. It's the water slide that makes him cheer. Durant splashing down without fear.
Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating lakes for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit,
Hi, this is
making
Maggie on
giant sand
92.1
castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant.
Landlord, Marion High, where Perloff was a nerd. Ernest was a football star, his name was Heard. But fast forward now, who's the real champ? Perloff's on the mic while Ernest is just a stamp. Oh, Ernest Pendleton thought you were the king, but Perloff's the one who's doing his thing. The Kings, let's talk about Pete, who never shows up, can't keep a seat.
The Joker, instead of going around him, he's just banging and banging and banging. When a guy's banging you, you spin off of him. Those are the worst defenders to play against, actually, because if you can feel their body, come on.
18 points for Joker, only nugget in double figures.
That's amazing. Our great debate today is the funniest athletes of all time. And yours was Charles Barkley, and he delivered with that clip.
I kind of, you guys wouldn't let me, but you kind of got to throw Shaq in there too, because when the two of them get going, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the funniest clip with Shaq, in my opinion, was one that I don't think was staged. When you know how Kenny races to the wall and they try to race him, and Shaq trips over something and he loses a shoe.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
God.
it's a total yard sale. Like, how do his shoes come off? Hilarious. Speaking of feet, is a transition I never thought I would make.
Wow.
By the way, I'm catching up on you on that poll fast.
Oh, on the funniest athlete?
Yeah.
Please
Yeah,
go to...
you went and you soiled it with your Philadelphia people.
Get out of here. Charles Barkley is beloved.
Yeah, of course
nationwide.
he is. But Bob Uecker is the correct answer for this great debate. He was winning until you sicked your Philadelphia Army on it.
I started this whole thing by saying humor is subjective. It's not scientific. The correct answer. Correct. That's the most unfunny thing to say about the funniest athlete.
It's just facts.
We
Bob
got a comment by
Uecker's...
somebody who was like, why would we say Margaret Irvin? And then I was like, oh, it's an Eagles fan, of course. Because Perloff got his Philly people involved.
And
how's Michael Irvin doing in the poll?
Peyton Manning.
He's like going to be negative 5% by the time the show's over because all the Eagles fans now are joining in.
Two-time Tony was also reminding us that Shaq crashing into the Christmas tree was also hilarious. Same kind of thing. Yep. Big man goes down. Well, we got into a discussion about pictures of my feet.
Of course.
My large feet are on the internet. Charles is in Maine, has got a story about this. Not my feet, but someone else's. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning. You already took me on once today, so I apologize for calling back. But and I called a couple of weeks ago about the movie Baghead, and you were wondering who my in-laws are. I'm Mark Duplass's brother-in-law,
yes.
And his wife Katie has had this happen to her. And we had a family gathering a couple of months ago where she was describing how people will. And Katie, she was in the league. She was Jenny in the league, so she's a bit of a celebrity herself. But and I 1,000% Perloff watched the league back in the day, and I'd eat that Jell-O with tuna in it if he didn't. But
I watched the league. We all love the league.
Well, yeah. Well, she was Jenny in that, but she was talking about how they will hide out and try and take pictures of her feet. And we all looked at a family dinner like the cast of SNL at the end of that sinkhole skit with Margot Robbie and where they're talking and Mikey Day. Anyway, I couldn't resist calling back. That's true. It's a thing, even for celebrities who are not or whatever would be known as A-list.
Hey,
celebrities.
Charles,
But Katie is.
the next time
Yeah.
you talk to your brother-in-law, Mark Duplass, tell him
Yeah.
big fan of Togetherness, and also it was called Room Something. It was a show on HBO.
Oh, yeah, the Duplass brothers, yeah.
All right, well, hang on 1 second, please, and I apologize for being rude and interrupting you. Room 104 is what it was called.
Yes.
And I need to, since you are giving me the time to speak about this on the air, my daughter wrote and directed an episode for that in season 2 called Josie's Room. Watch it. It's beautiful.
Got it.
You're Perla. You're a Dartmouth guy. I'm a Dartmouth guy. She's a Dartmouth girl.
Nice.
She wrote this story called Josie's Room in season 2, or might have been season 3, actually. I forget when it was. It's watch it.
Yeah, we'll check
Will
it out.
do.
It's
Awesome.
Charles,
and
thank
you for giving me the platform to say it. My daughter's trying to kick that door in out there, and that. Yeah,
Well-
Mark gave her a platform in 104. Thank you for your time, guys. Have a
Yeah,
great day.
thank you.
plug
Having
will
your uncle be Mark Duplass should help you get your foot in the door, hopefully.
That plug right there will probably change her career trajectory.
Yeah, get that to Scorsese.
Not our, yes, she obviously incredibly talented. You ever see the one where him and Ray Romano are best friends and he dies of stomach cancer? Mark Duplass. It is an incredibly powerful performance by him. Do
That-
not watch it because you will cry.
Is that Room 104? One of the
No, it's not
episodes?
Room 104.
Oh.
It's a follow. It is an incredible, not popular movie. He's an incredible writer. Him and his brother are awesome.
There we go. I think that's a fitting way to end this random show that we just
I
did.
am going off to search WikiFeed right now.
Good luck with all that. EJ Stewart, thank you. Nico Scarlatos, thank you. To Andrew Bogish, Andrew Kaplan. Weedos.